All right, welcome back to the party, everybody. I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Thank you so much for partying with me, guys. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part. So make sure you're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Really quickly, let's say thank you to my6shirt.com. Whenever your persuasion, they've got something for you. And of course, it is the only place to get your very own The Indian Jesus official merch. Only at my6shirt.com. All right. What is good? We got Jay in the building asking about. I actually have not heard about this yet. So why don't you tell me your thoughts on it? Because I saw a thumbnail, but I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. So what is going on? Shout out to Zippy the Strange, also in the building, is asking about our running poll. Right now, the poll is Candace Owens a grifter? Yes, no, or I don't know who she is, or you can say not sure. So yes, no, not sure, or I don't know. Let us find out tonight. Zippy says, I'd say she's more sensationalist in her presentation than an outright grifter. Interesting. I think that's pretty spot on, but I could definitely be pushed in a different direction. So that's, Jay was saying right off the top, why does Owens feel like all she talks about is drama? She does talk a lot of drama, and she does talk a lot of like interpersonal stuff, but so do I. And I would hope that you guys think that I'm not a grifter. But again, I don't claim to be this grand politico that's going to tell you everything about politics. Oh my goodness. Welcome to the party, unwanted foe. Oh, I'm sorry that you had a rough day. Morty, come here. He's been sick. You guys, seriously, not even joking. I don't know what happened. He threw up like 4 times down here last night. So I'm going to leave this for him, but I'm not going to push him too hard because I don't know what he ate, what he got into, but thank you, sir. I am hoping that I will make your day better. So with that said, we got a new sponsor of the stream. That's right. Candace Owens was on the PBD podcast, and they talked about a bunch of different things. And so that is the main question that we're going to be looking at tonight. Is Candace Owens a grifter? Yes or no?
We were talking about this.
So I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are on this. So this is a new technology tracking which one of these workers at this coffee shop are working the hardest, the AI. And then it tracks which customers sit in there the longest to track. So watch its AI. Go for it. Camera does all of this for you.
All right. So this is like a Starbucks if you're not. And the blue is the employees, and it's counting how many cups.
Anna's done 20 cups. Vika's done 10 cups. Elena's done 10 cups. Wow. Olga's done 3 cups. So the boss can come back and say,
Olga, you getting fired.
Hey, Olga, any reason why you sat your ass down for an hour? All you did is 3 cups all day. You're fired, right?
Leaning on the counter in the back.
She's doing nothing in the back. And look at how hard Anna's working. So guess what? This favors who? Anna deserves a raise. Olga deserves to be fired. And the 10 cups per day, guys, deserve to just get exactly what they're getting paid. They can't ask for a raise. Now, I'll put the picture I texted you in Congress.
So before we go into that, I did have a question from Jay. I want to attend to that. So there was Valentina the Excuse. If you're not familiar, Valentina Shevchenko, maybe the greatest female martial artist of all time, only second to Amanda Nunes, getting the nickname the Excuse. So Valentina lost round 2. She got dropped. Lost round 4 and almost subbed in the 5th. She fought last week? I'm falling behind, guys. But she's back to blaming the refs and judges. So she, I would say that if it was that night, or if it was at the press conference, then I'm going to give any fighter, especially her, the pass, because you're going to be in your head about, it should have gone that way. You're not seeing the fight, through, you're seeing it through very adrenalized eyes. And, I don't know. If she goes on like an Ariel Helwani or a Luke Thomas and doubles down, then we could say, well, hey, girl, you're the best. But if you're not, then you got to own it. Shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. Jay says, not to sound rude, but I think Owens used her skin color as a crutch to say some wild-ish, but that is just my opinion. I agree with you, and I do the same damn thing. Not because it's not because it's something that I wouldn't say if I was white, but knowing that I'm not white and you can't throw, white supremacist in. I absolutely use that. But I would say that the left uses skin color or in the opposite way as a crutch to say, oh, well, you're white, so you're racist. Oh, you're a straight white male. So again, I mean, that's definitely true. She definitely does that. But the at the end of the day, we want to come back to the question, is she a grifter? Oh man, that's disappointing. Valentina, come on. You're amazing. Just run with it. All right. So AI at Starbucks.
Just very interesting. This AI now tracks which percentage of these members of Congress stay on their phones the longest time.
Wow.
You see name there, 76.9%, 85.5%, 61.2%, 81.2%.
So what you're telling me is that Starbucks employees are more productive than Congress. Makes sense.
Is this an area of AI where a level of accountability and surveillance goes to a level where a boss, a parent, by the way, parents, your kids go to school, now you can see what teachers are doing with kids. You can kind of watch what teachers are doing with kids.
So Zippy is talking about, it's not, it would be nice if it was all based on effort, but these things are all about money making and efficiency and stuff like that. But what he's about to bring up and kind of flip this on its head is like, this is how it's been used so far. But if we understand the technology better, then we can use it to our benefit. So check this out.
You can now track what your kids are doing in school. You can track this for sports, who's practicing, who's training when they go to the gym. Imagine a football coach has AI, 3 hours you're going to the gym, which linebacker is actually training for how long, which one is not. You can now officially track how many reps they did, how many sets they did. Is this a good thing with this level of accountability, or does this kind of concern you?
Gosh, really hard to answer this right off the cuff. But what I will say is that we are like suffering from chronic laziness right now. And that would transform if you knew that you were being watched. Just when your boss walks in, you kind of stiffen up and you start doing stuff. Because
yeah, but that's a bad thing. I don't want people to be working hard for the sake of working hard. I want to create a society where you come to, especially if I'm an employer, I don't want you working hard because you know you're going to get in trouble if you don't. I want you working hard because you find value in the work that you and we as a company are doing. Now, obviously, nobody wants to work harder than they have to, and nobody's going to work harder than the boss, which is seems to be forgotten by a lot of employers. But it's a little bit dangerous to start giving all of this power to people who already have such huge leverage over your employment status. Like they can fire you at will for anything. Yeah, there's wrongful termination, but then you have to go to court, you have to get a lawyer, all that stuff. Whereas if you have an issue with them, it's a whole other thing. It's not like you're on different levels there. So I hear what she's saying. But I don't think I agree. Zibby says, I've been to debt court before. Almost everyone on their phones but the judge. Most of those in the seats and the lawyers. Well, if it's that simple, then government and business will use it. True.
Because you know that you're being watched, and because I know how far millennials, Gen Z go in terms of a laziness, like they do need like a little kick in the butt. Maybe this could be the solution.
So as I say, everything that I just said, she's not wrong. she's not wrong. How often do I complain as a millennial about millennials and how much millennial mindsets, and of course I blame the boomers for it, but she's not wrong. She's not wrong. I'm just saying, I don't know that this is the right way to go about things.
By the way, regarding schools, I've always thought, why can't I watch my kids while they're in school? They have daycares. For daycares, you can do that because they want parents to feel comfortable about what's happening, so you can log in and you can watch what's going on.
That's right.
And same thing with like doggy daycare. You know, as those of you who know, I'm a professional dog trainer, and so doggy daycare is a big thing. You know, a lot of people work a lot of the day and don't have time to, you know, run their 80-pound dog, you know, get enough exercise. So they send them to a place where they can play with other dogs and get that exercise. And they have cameras set up the whole time, and you can just log in on your phone and be like, oh, there's Fido doing what he's doing. So I see the other side of it as well. But it's a thin line before you're going too far.
Right.
This crisis that we're dealing with, like kids beating up their teachers. What if they knew their moms were just watching them from their smartphones? These kids might straighten up a little bit.
We love that, by the way.
Yeah, and we would feel good about seeing,
That's
like,
right.
I'm so okay with like schools being able to have cameras and letting parents access that. That does not bother me at all. I think that's a great idea, and that's a great way to use AI too. And teachers would probably be doing less finicky stuff in the classroom. But there's an element of this that also feels subhuman.
Yeah.
Like we're watching like robots. Like, I don't know, like we're suddenly in like...
I'm surprised nobody said 1984 yet.
Like I Am Legend or something.
It is
that no, I, Robot? What is the
I,
Robot? Yeah, I, Robot.
I Legend's a good movie.
See, that's
Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
The positive
There
side
you
of that, where I see
that's exactly like Minority Report. That's exactly like that. Like the precogs and the future crime. It gets scary. And as somebody who already doesn't trust the government, as somebody who watched a whole bunch of people give way more trust to the government than they should have gotten over the last 3 or 4 years, I'm not happy about it. Guys, can we just get 2 more likes in here? We got 5 in here and just 1 like. Just one of you. Come on. I know you guys are better than that. Zippy says, the thing about working harder when the boss is around is when the boss is around. If it's cameras and AI, then you would force a higher work ethic rather than slack off as much as you can. Well, I mean, I agree and I disagree, because both can be true at the same time. If you know you're being watched constantly, you're still going to, work as a, like we're talking about when if you don't have AI and then you straighten up when the boss comes around, you're still going to do that knowing the AI is watching. But if you looked at, a lot of the people who were working from home over lockdown, there was a million ways they tried to, they tried to do like your mouse trackers and your eye trackers, and they would do things like people would get glasses that had eyeballs on them, or they would have a thing that presses a keystroke every however many seconds. So, I mean, never underestimate people's ability to find a way to slack off. It will always happen. Unwanted foes are getting closer to a government overlord dystopia, utilizing AIs to watch over citizens for the police. Yeah, it doesn't sound fun when you put it like that, does it? Zuby says, laziness and slacking is a plague. We need a better focus on effort and merit at all levels of society. But the top end never wants to work more than it has to, which filters down to the rest. Well said. That it's a culture that trickles down. And thank you for the likes, guys. And if we look at people who are a little bit higher on the totem pole, at least in the corporate world, and we can see that they are doing things to take shortcuts, that there's nothing wrong with those shortcuts because you're still getting the work done. Come on. Then why wouldn't us lowly people down here do this the same thing? Going back to the Starbucks thing, it's like, well, if they're all getting paid the same, I'm not mad at Olga for not making as many cups as she needs. Not to mention that what this doesn't show you is that, and I haven't been to Starbucks in quite a while, but I'm pretty sure that the reason that these two are making more cups is because this Olga down here is the one calling out, hey, this is your drink. And then the other person who had a low number was at the register taking, I really should have checked where we were before I did that, but they were taking the orders. So I don't know how great of a representation of how that actually would work is, but the concept is enough for me. All right, let's see where we were.
You're monitoring for this type of stuff, but then
Olga got to get fired.
Olga's gone.
Right?
3 cups.
Like,
Get the hell out of
Olga
there.
got to go.
Breaking news. Olga got deported.
See, that's what I'm saying. What if she's the one yelling out? Everybody says, I don't like yelling out. You know what? We'll make the coffee and you get to stand there and do all, you don't have to work as hard, but you do all the things that we don't like. And it works out for everybody. The bosses don't know the difference because the same number of cups are going out and I don't have to raise my voice. How do you know that that's not the case? So I'm just saying, you got to think about these things from all angles.
Olga just went back to Ukraine, guys. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Nah, she's relying on Anna. I don't like any of this.
But Candace, like, see, like,
Olga gotta go.
I'm with
By the way,
Candace.
this describes almost every work environment,
100%.
every sports team, every place.
Like, I'm with Candace. I'm with you because, yeah, it's cool. I'm kind of creeped out about it a little bit, but then, like, how far do we go? Like, in China, their AI system can, if you're crossing the street and you jaywalk, it doesn't have to see your face. If it sees your body walking, it takes money out of your account already. And if you don't pay it, your social score goes down.
Yeah.
And if people are hanging out with you, their shit goes down. And it's like,
damn.
I didn't know that part. Like, that's crazy. And so that's why, even if, you're talking about, I want to see what's going on with my child at daycare. I want to see what they're teaching at school. Absolutely. But where do we draw the line? We have to, these are conversations that should have been had on a much larger scale long before the technology was ever able to do it. And now that we are at a certain level where we can see where the technology is going to go, I'm glad that we are having those types of conversations, but it might be too late. But exactly, exactly. Maybe she's new. So again, I don't know that particular clip is a great, what's the word? Like endemic of, what really goes on. I think it was just an example, but it is what it is. Shout out to Daniel Cabrera. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya. And we got Nick in the building. Welcome. Good to see you guys. Glad to have you. Zippy said, there's an efficacy in this setup, but you can have it set up to add merit modifiers based on the job type. Those at the register are not going to move around a lot. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And so, I mean, I think the way they set this up is a little bit more like scary than that actually is. But at the same time, the same way they say with the transitioning kids, like, there's only like 5 of them. Like, yes, but you want more and more and more of them. So that's the issue. Maybe not where it is today, but where it is headed tomorrow. Shout out to Soft Num Nums. Welcome to the party. Said I'm new to this Candace controversy, so not sure what happened. Pearly Things was just talking about her too. So I mean, I don't know that maybe something else happened since they recorded this podcast. But the main thing with her is just the style that she has with everything, and what she said about different people. And as who said it very early, our very first one, Jay was saying, why does it feel like Owens, all she talks about is drama? So maybe it is something in there. Let's find out. And welcome to the party.
this is the beginning of the end.
Tom, you're a father. What do you think about this?
Well,
Oh my God.
I happen to be married to a teacher and who every now and then does parent conferences, and data always wins. Whether you're the district attorney or the prosecutor or you're a school teacher, data always wins. People sit down and you say, hey, I'd like to talk to your kid about math and everything. Well, they probably need more instruction or attention from you. What's the ratio? Do you have an assistant that's in the class? You usually start there, and then it's like, here's the baseline. Here's the test they took. Let's look at the numbers. Okay, what do we have to do? Suddenly it flips a switch. Oh, my daughter wouldn't do that. Let's look at the surveillance camera at the 7-Eleven. Okay. What do we do to keep them out of jail? Is there a probation option here? Data changes everything.
That's what happened this week, by the way.
So,
when I was
so again, making a good argument about how the data really affects how we view these things. And if there's a problem with people working and how much they're working, then it will be important to see where is that happening and see what the patterns are and how to address them in a way that actually works and not like a finger wagging like, hey, if you got time to clean, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. Like that obviously doesn't help anybody. Soft Nam says she gets a little hyped about drama for sure. Yeah, she's definitely the most drama heavy person at the Daily Wire by far, despite the fact that Jordan Peterson literally has so much drama going on in his life. She is the drama queen, might we say.
In school.
So I feel very strongly that there is a creepy side to this, to government surveillance. But you know what? Data usually stops arguments and moves people toward discussion of solution. That's how
I'll add one more thing.
So what you're saying is Olga's got to be fired.
Olga got to go.
Olga, sure.
Olga got to go. Well,
Olga's got to get. By the way, that's got to be the title of this video. Olga's getting fired.
Here's what I'll say.
That's exactly right. And Olga comes in with an employment attorney, and then we say, "Sir, let's just sit down and look at this." And then he leaves and tells Olga, "There's nothing I can do for you."
Yeah, frivolous lawsuits go away.
I'll say Candace, I think, was right. This is neither good nor bad. It's a thing. And
I like that actually. I like that actually. This is just a thing, and there's good and bad. It's neither entirely good or entirely bad. It's just something we have to pay attention to.
I equate this to the metaphor of what social media is, or even what marriage is. And I'll say this, the great thing about social media is everyone has a voice and can say what they want to say. But also the bad thing about social media is everyone has a voice that can say what they want to say. So when I talk to people about marriage, I get this one answer was so poignant. He goes, I'm like, what do you love about marriage? Like, oh, I love my wife. She's just always there. She's always there for me. I go, what do you not like about marriage? My wife is always there. And that's exactly what this is that they're just trapped.
That's a pretty bad dad joke, but I mean, hey, if it fits, it fits. Shout out to Doodad Attack. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Attacking you.
Are you for it? By the way, run a poll.
I think at the end of the day, this is helpful.
This better for society or worse for society?
And would you use it?
I would absolutely use it.
Vinny, we're using it.
Should we make that a poll as well? I kind of want to. All right, we're up at 10. Okay, so we got 10 full votes. So we'll end this poll here. Is Candace Owens a grifter? 60% of you said no. 60% of you said no. Interesting. I thought it was going to be a little bit more split because 30% of you said either not sure, you don't even know who she is, and only 10% said yes. So let's finish up this clip, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
By the way, let me tell you why I would use it. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? I would absolutely use it and tell them that person that's working the most, you get
Zippy, this is what I was talking about.
Get to come and ask me for a massive raise.
Perfect.
Go for it.
Yeah.
You get to come and ask me for a raise because the video validates you're working your ass off. And the people that say, no, shouldn't do this and all this stuff. No problem. Totally get it. But
I would walk in and say that. Hey, Pat, I think I've been working hard. It's a 3% inflation raise. I think I deserve 5 to 10. Why do you think that? And I says, can we take a look? Have you been watching me?
Check the stats.
Yeah.
So that really changes things and puts power back into the hands of the worker. That if you are, what was one of the other names of, I think Anna was one of the ones that had like 20 cups to Olga's 3. So if you are Anna and you go to the boss and you say, hey, I think I deserve a raise. They're like, well, quarterly this, and they're like, well, how about we pull up the numbers? Now, again, is it going to play out like that? Probably not. But if you are the one company to actually, go about doing things in that way, then you're a lot more likely to get better work, better productivity, and you send that throughout the culture. And now more companies are like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe we should do that. So yes, our new poll is AI surveillance good or bad overall for society? And I said yes or no, but you guys know what I mean. Yes is good. No is bad. Replay gang, just let me know in the comments. Do you think AI surveillance is good or bad overall for society? There's good and there's bad to it, but on an overall balance of probabilities. I want to post it's a 10-mile long tightrope walk. If you fall, it's bad for society. Yep. And It's a pretty windy day during that walk. It's God damn it. All right, hold on. Let me redo that one. Let me redo it. I'm gonna redo it. Hold on. Struggle stream. Good or bad? Take two. There we go. Zibby says, yes, data is a good thing. You can show you are working harder than others, thus more likely to get a raise. Again, true, theoretically. Assuming that the bosses are good bosses and good employers, good at their job, good at being a leader, good at fostering harder work. Is that always the case? So this one is about Ukraine.
When I was watching the Republican debates, and they're sitting here trying to make me cry for people in Ukraine. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Have you looked around America yet? Do you really think that this is what the people at home are going to respond to, perpetually telling them that they have to care about another nation more than their own backyards, that they should be caring more about what's happening in Ukraine, and Chris Christie trying to pitch it, and Pence trying to pitch it, and Nikki Haley, we need to be the police officers of the world when we can't even police her. We can do both. No, we obviously can't.
Clearly, we can. And that's not to say, soft knowledge, I'm right there with you. Stats don't lie, but liars can definitely use stats. Yeah, the notion here that that we can do both. I'm not saying that it's impossible for both to be done. I'm saying that the way things are going, both things are not getting done. There's problems at home that need attention and resources. And attention and resources that are not being spent on those issues are being spent elsewhere. I understand that it's not like if we didn't send this $1 trillion to Ukraine, that they were just going to give it to America. I understand it's not that simple. That doesn't mean it's a different issue. We have, resources are finite. That's the end of the story. Zibby says, well, it's counterbalanced by the data. Lawyers and the market in general, which already balances pay and other things. I hope so. Let's everybody stay open-minded, just not so open-minded that your brains fall out.
Like, have you walked down the streets of Los Angeles? Have you walked down New York? We clearly, obviously can't do both, right? And so having, I think, that the courage to stand on something that doesn't feel establishment popular or mainstream media popular, but that you understand is what people are actually feeling. And, I'm very much a person that from the very beginning has said, F Ukraine,
F Ukraine. So you're talking about a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush? Yeah, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, because if you have a bird in your hand, that means you've got one. You're good. There's two of them in the bush, but if you let go of that bird to try to get the two that are in the bush, you're likely to end up with none. So a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush.
I stand on that. And I would have said it if I was on the debate stage. Like, I would have let them all do their little pitch and the cries and the tears, because how this gets into the
why F Ukraine is what I ask. Why?
Because rich men north of Richmond, you know what I mean? Because Richmond north of Richmond, because people literally can't put food on the table. You've stopped people from working in America. The average person is struggling to even be able to afford gas, groceries.
So she's hitting on the same exact thing that I was saying, but it's as a pundit, as somebody who's on a podcast like this, I feel like it's a little bit more in her responsibility when she's saying F Ukraine. That's my thing. I would say on the debate stage, I stand by it. I feel like I need it's not connect the things, connect the fact that there's money going over here and there's problems here. But connect how directly this person, instead of fixing this, went to do that. Because otherwise, it's kind of just rhetorical. Because I do know that the resources are finite, but I don't necessarily know that, again, if we weren't sending money over to Ukraine, that it would be any better for Americans at home. So that's a talking point. But with me not personally knowing exactly how these budgets work, I would like to hear if you're saying you would stand on the GOP debate stage, I would hope you'd be ready for the follow-up of how are these connected, aside from the fact that resources are finite.
You have people that are dealing with an influx of crime and illegal immigration in their cities, people whose daughters and kids are being raped and killed. That woman that was horrifically killed in Arizona going on a run by an illegal immigrant. All of this is happening in our country right here. Because if you told me as a mother that I need to care more about what's happening in the neighbor's house while my kids were suffering in my house, I would look at you and tell you were crazy.
Oh, yeah, that, I mean, the notion that we, and again, I still need her or somebody to connect it more concretely, because I'm telling you what I think, but I'm also being upfront about the fact that I don't know exactly the ins and outs of how not sending money abroad would directly impact Americans. I'm telling you that I don't know that. It makes sense. I would assume that if we have $10 billion and we send $5 billion over to another country, then that's money that can't be spent here. But again, I know that that's just the what's the word? That's just like the conceptual argument. I'm sure that when you get down to it, it's not that simple. It's not like I have $10 and instead of paying rent, I'm gonna buy weed or something like that. It's not that simple, but it's the same concept. So what I need to know is how, like, circle that square. Shout out to Guam Tech in the building. Welcome to the party. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Obviously. Of course, I'm going to take care of my own house first. And if I have something after my house is in perfect order, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you say to me, hey, they need help. That's just common sense. But if my house is in complete chaos and my kids can't eat and my kids are struggling, how dare you tell me that it's wrong to want to care for my own first? And that's exactly what the American foreign policy is amongst the elites.
But Candace, our house has never been in perfect order, as you know this, in America. So how do you grapple with the fact that when do we get involved? Like if China,
we shouldn't.
If anything, anywhere, like
That's a great point. That's a great point. A rare great point from Sauce here. That, okay, America's never been perfect. It's never going to be perfect. So at what point do we decide that it's good enough that we can start looking elsewhere? Because the rest of the world does, in fact, affect us. As much as we want to make sure our own room is clean. Shout out to Jordan Peterson. Thank you, and Montepo. As much as we want to make sure our own room is clean, at some point, if your roommate's room is, toxic biohazard, then they're still going to, evict you. So what's going on with China, what's going on with Ukraine, what's going on with Russia, these things do matter. But it just seems too easy to just say, well, help us and then help them. So great point from Adam Sauce here. Nick says, I think it would at least not be adding to the national debt if we weren't sending the money. There you go. These are the kind of hard facts that I need put together. And you're exactly right. That's a big part of how that is going to affect Americans on the daily in their own lives. Good point. I like the new profile picture.
Interventionist. So China attacks Taiwan. You're good with it. What kind of foreign policy do you think we should even have? Zero whatsoever in the world?
Everything that we're doing in the world right now is we're suffering from not being able to mind our own business. This idea, post World War II regarding international liberalism, that it was now we must spread our ideas everywhere and everybody must accept them. Maybe people don't want to live like Americans want to live. Have we ever thought of that?
We'll come back to that. Zuby says we deal with the crap when it affects trade. Outside that, we should not be involved as the committee makes things worse. And I would like to think it was that simple. And if it is that simple, and the elites, the Illuminati, the globalists, whoever you think is pulling all the strings, if they are really just making things so bad for Americans simply for their own benefit, when it's just that simple, that just be like, well, let's clean our own room, but we can get richer doing this. If it's really just that simple, then I don't know how you fix any of this. And then, what she's saying here is we should never get involved. We should stay out of everything. And again, like I said, at a certain point, clean your room is a great place to start, but that is absolutely not where you end. And that's what Adam's asking about. And this is where the drama grifting part comes out. It's like, do you really have a position on this, or are you just saying what sounds nice? Because it does sound nice. It definitely sounds nice. But I'm trying to be critical here. And you're not giving me a lot to give you credit. A lot of this is just, I have to give you the benefit of the doubt. And at least for right now, again, what you're saying sounds right. But do you have anything to back that up?
Like maybe people in Iraq and Iran actually are not interested in the way that we live. Maybe people in Saudi Arabia are not interested in the way that Californians live. And by the way, if you're looking at what's going on in California and LA, does it seem like maybe people should be embracing American values and principles at this moment? Like if you could buy them and purchase them right now as another country, you probably would be wanting to go the other way. Hence Uganda and the laws that they're putting.
Again, that sounds very sensationalized, because yes, there are parts of American culture and the states in America that are like, oh, not so good. But if you're not an ISIS leader, then I think, yes, you might want to be living like Americans, or at least under American law, where you can still practice your religion and so on and so forth. I don't know. You can't, in one hand, talk about how terrible the border crisis is because the entire world is just coming over and they're legislating. But also, do people even really want to live like Americans? What? Like, you got to pick one. I don't know. Am I my skeptical hippo eyes are going crazy? Am I the only one? Shout out to MJ. Welcome to the party. Glad to see ya. MJ says, well, why do we need to be involved with what another country is doing? Is it written anywhere, or are we just messing to stir the pot and make things better for ourselves? Well, of course, it is. It's written in agreements like with NATO and what's the other one I'm thinking of? Yeah, NATO and the UN. Jesus Christ. So it's definitely written there. But all of those things that are written are only to benefit ourselves. The idea that we would be trying to install democracy because we care so much about the world, like that's a load of crap. Obviously, they don't even care about us. Why would they care about that? MJ said, people coming to America doesn't mean they want to live like Americans. They just want the money. How is that seems like a distinction without a difference. Living like an American means that you can live in any way that you want and get money through capitalistic endeavors. That is what living like an American is. Didn't Trump get us out of the UN? Did he? I don't think so. Did Trump get us out of the UN? U.S. withdrew from the United Nations Scientific. Okay, the Scientific and Cultural Organization and the Human Rights Council. 2017. Jeez. Okay. Well, that's why I couldn't remember. Good call. Good call. Zippy says, we install democracies to give corporations a lot of free money. Bingo. Yep. They don't assimilate to our culture. That's true. But that, okay. And so you're saying that in response to, they just want the money. Okay. Fair enough. You've changed my mind. Shout out to MJ.
In place trying to keep this LGBT principles at this moment. Like if you could buy them and purchase them right now as another country, you probably would be wanting to go the other way. Hence Uganda and the laws that they're putting in place trying to keep this LGBTQ agenda that Americans are funding all across the world. Why are we funding that? Why are we funding saying that girls in Pakistan need to learn about transgenderism? This is
ESG.
The foolishness that our tax dollars are going toward. And people, that because international liberalism, these are great ideas. No, actually, these ideas kind of suck, actually.
It's arrogance.
And it's arrogance. It's not even American arrogance, because the average American doesn't think this way. The average American doesn't think that children in kindergarten need to learn 75,000 genders.
True. That's another, that is a point that, grifter or not, is just straight up. The fact is that this gender ideology is a very, very small portion of the country. And the supporters, the allies, are a lot bigger, but only because of the perceived right side of history kind of BS. So that we can definitely we definitely can see that as once we reach the tipping point and people are like, oh, okay, we can go back to saying there's only two genders. Yeah, I never believed in that anyway. We know that that's going to be the case. Default settings. Oh, on your default configuration. Yeah, probably best.
We're not impressive academically. Kids are getting systematically dumber in America. We have nothing to show for all of the money that we're spending all around the world. Our country is in full decline. Mm-hmm. So I actually want to be clear. It's not just F Ukraine. It's F everybody until we get our house in order.
So nothing. Yeah. You don't want to be involved.
Nothing.
So if China attacks Taiwan and the semiconductor chips we're relying on, and that's going to be gone, and 96% of the products that China manufacturing right now in China, where Apple's manufacturing in China, and they go through that mess, it's okay. It affects you're totally fine.
Our boys to die on foreign soil.
Zero.
No, not one American life.
So again, I have to question how. Again, that sounds great. Not one American life. But what does the world actually look like if China actually does invade Taiwan and we don't do anything? I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm legitimately asking because I don't think she is addressing how her position. She's like, well, I don't care. Just no, I don't care. No. You see what I mean? She's not giving. Well, it's actually better if we don't because X, Y, and Z. Just no, I'm not sending one American life. None of our boys are going to die. I'm like, yes, that sounds nice. But what is the reality? What is the reality? What does that mean if we're not going to say that we will back up Taiwan if that happens? And I'm not saying that we should or we shouldn't. I'm asking questions. Zippy said we need to make our own stuff. We should have learned this lesson in World War II. Well, yeah, that's exactly what they're talking about.
And so then how do you so then what would, if a Candace Owens was president today, what would your foreign policies be? What would your approach be with Xi? What would your approach be with Putin? What would your approach be with what's going on in Iran or some of these guys? What would you do?
Yeah, well, I mean, with Putin, obviously the worst thing that we could have possibly done, which is what's happening now, is folded him further into the arms of the East, okay? Putin should be a natural ally with the West. We have been pushing this fake Cold War for way too long, okay? We're not in the 60s anymore, okay? Putin is not trying to rebuild Soviet Union. He doesn't have the money. I mean, it's completely ridiculous to think that Russia is the biggest threat. This is just the mainstream media simulation. It's going to be just like the Soviet Union.
That again, that sounds spot on. That sounds spot on. So then why are you then saying that the idea of a war with Russia, where we literally are giving money to Ukraine right now, is not an issue, or only became an issue because of the fact that we decided to back Ukraine? You see what I mean? She's saying all nice things, but does it have any meaning? Does it have any meaning? So he said, China and Russia can barely stay solvent. We need to learn some Swiss neutrality. Bingo. I am with that. He said, tax the hell out of anything coming from China. If they try and do anything funny, ban trade if you have to. But again, everybody here wants the new iPhone. Everybody here wants the new Samsung. Where are these coming from? Where are these coming from? From China.
Whereas we're the ones that are actually pushing further into that territory. I mean, it's complete delusion. We're the ones that is putting NATO on everybody's border and pushing and inching further after we gave promises that we wouldn't do that we would not expand 1 inch eastward. Okay. So we're just not being honest about what it is that's even happening over there. We're not being honest about the corruption and the laundromat that Ukraine is. And
wait a minute. The government is not being honest about corruption in Ukraine? No, that's not the America I know. Come on.
The reason why we have such a vested interest in it, Biden's interest in it, Burisma and everything that's going on. This has nothing to do with caring about Ukrainian soldiers.
So Zippy says, hey, build it here or not at all if you have to. And that's a hard stance, but at least I know that Zippy is saying, okay, like that's the trade-off that we make. That's the trade-off that we make. In order to look at that freeze frame. the trade-off that we make to make sure that we are not spread all over the world playing world police, sending money, sending munitions, sending people, is that things get a lot more expensive. What did I say? That I just flow. What did I say? Oh, really? I used to do that a lot. Are you telling me you are telling me there's corruption in the U.S.?
If you actually bought that narrative that they're worried about the Soviet Union expansion, you're absolutely wrong. You know, they just are, they want to expand their own power in that region. And so when Trump was in office and he sought to have a meaningful relationship with Putin so that we weren't pushing him into the arms of China, and China is actually a threat to the United States, yeah, that was the right policy to have, an actual peace policy, you know, that we should be respecting how people want to run their own countries, right? And also trying to have strategic relationships, strategic partnerships with them. That is what makes sense to me. I believe in national sovereignty. I believe that Russia has.
Wait, she say she's a sovereign citizen? Just kidding. Inside joke for those of you who know.
The right to run its country the way that it wants to run its country. I believe Iraq, Iran, America, the United Kingdom. I don't want to be, you know, we want to be out. We don't want to be a part of the European Union. All the European Union, these concepts of trying to say, to globalize us and say this is how everybody must think. In America, we can't even decide on how we all want to think.
Yeah, I remember when I was, you know, kind of coming to my political awakening, if you want to call it that. I was more in the you know, the complete opposite camp than I am now. That, well, why can't we all just get along? I mean, I was living in some dream world where, you know, we could just have one government that will control everything, and then everybody will get along. Obviously, I've wised up, but the level, the degree to which I didn't realize that, like MJ said, you know, they you know, everyone in the world wants to come here, but there's a difference between coming here and taking advantage of the freedoms that we have and actually appreciating the culture. So good point, MJ. Good point, MJ. Actually, I'm starring this to bring that back later. And it says, "With Sleepy Joe never lies, and I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof." Oh, man. I don't know about that.
You know what I mean? The Southern principles and values compared to New York City and LA is something that we can't seem to.
Can I give you perspective? Can I give you perspective?
Completely agree, MJ.
I want to get your perspective on this. So, you know, your Daily Wire. I was just with Ben a couple days ago, and we had a good time together. But think about a company, for example, that's built on software we rent, which we all do, right? A company's not built on 100% of software that you have, right? Mm-hmm. When we build an insurance company, we borrowed a company called iPipeline. They are a behemoth of a company, $2.5 billion company. After 10 years of saying no to him, he finally said, "Let's make it work." I said, "Let's make it work." And he came and gave me an offer I couldn't refuse. I said, let's roll. Mm-hmm. Then another one and another one. I won't name all of them, but.
Has anyone else, or has anyone ever gotten a deal that they couldn't refuse? I would just love to know that feeling. Like, wow, well, this is a deal I just can't refuse. It's nothing in life has ever been that good. I don't know.
My perspective is to say, guys, moving forward, if you're not one of our, a product that we're not doing internally, that's it. I don't care about them. We're not going to do any business with this is it. It's foreign. We're not going to do nothing. But we're relying on that software. The reason why I'm saying this is we're relying on China. Mm-hmm. Okay. We're relying on China. Yeah. Cars, we're relying on China. This week was the first time where we got an iPhone 15 that's going to say made in India, which is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's progress. But it's not made in America. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we do made in America, this is a $5,000 phone. This is not a $1,300 or now $2,700 phone. So all I'm saying to you.
So if it's, whoa, where'd I go? So she just said, I understand the economics. Okay, so then explain to those of us who maybe don't understand the economics or think we know the economics, or maybe we question whether you do in fact know the economics. Why don't you explain why the economics that we're talking about prices of everything going through the roof to a degree that is not reasonable to keep the American economy running. Why is that not an issue to you? Why is that not something that worries you? What is the information that you have? What is the path that you see going forward if we, we don't back China and then we have no trade with them, and then what, do we go back into a world where we technologically go back 40 years because everything that we have today is going to cost 10 times as much, so we have to wait until the how technology gets cheaper over time? Is that going to mean that we go back 40? Like, what does it mean? And how are you so comfortable saying this is my position when a lot of us are like, okay, I think this makes sense, right? But you seem sure. Wanted Foe said, remember, Bidenomics are working as Sleepy Joe intended. That sounds ominous. That sounds ominous. That sounds like if I don't say something nice about Biden, that he's going to come and do something.
Come on, man. And I get it. I get the fact that we spent $100 billion. White House finally confirms they spent $100 billion on Ukraine, and we sent $700 a family to Maui, which is absolutely pathetic. And it's still, it's been a month already, whatever the timeline's been. Yeah, we'll eventually get to it. What do you mean we'll eventually get to it with a couple thousand kids still missing?
So that's, I think, the best example of where resources, where attention, where the media is focusing. Why am I in the position of saying, well, hold on, we've got we've got like the water in Flint, Michigan, we've got all these things on. Now we have something newsworthy, brand new. This crazy wildfire, the biggest in the history of the country. There's a lot of money that we now need, that Oprah and The Rock are now asking for us to pay for. Why couldn't we have used the money that went to Ukraine? That's a legitimate question from somebody who does not know the answer. If anybody out there can tell me why that money that went to Ukraine could not have been spent in Hawaii, then I'll have a much better understanding of what this government is doing. But right now, I don't see it. I don't see it.
But that desire to say, nope, that's it, nothing, no foreign policy, no need to.
But what we're talking about here is we're talking about our involvement in foreign wars. That's not to say that we shouldn't be doing business deals. That's why I said strategic partnerships with people that are overseas.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying is,
right. But if she's talking about partnerships, and unless I miss what she's talking about, if she's talking about partnerships, and then the partnership is, hey, we're going to give you guys all of this stuff, this technological stuff, and in return, if China comes down breathing down our neck, you got our back, right? Then how is that not spitting in the face of that? Yeah, I get it.
It's a question. If we allow China to attack Taiwan, you're like, nope, we're not doing anything. We're not sending our men over there.
I'm not sending a single.
So you're okay.
So MJ says it is agendas. The very rich and powerful have their agenda. Everyone has agendas. But the powerful and rich have ways that can make their agenda come true and screw us all. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly why we need to, when we do these kinds of things, we want to make sure we are aligning with people who are aligning with people who are aligning with people who are aligning with people that we can at least appreciate, if not like, all the time. I talk about how I don't think Trump is a nice guy. I don't even think that, as Vivek is my number one right now, I don't think that he is necessarily a nice guy. I don't assume the worst in him, but he's a politician. He's running for president. There's things that you have to do as to be the president that probably I wouldn't be morally willing to do. So that is just a basis. If you're a politician, you're a different kind of person. And so, I mean, that's exactly why we do all this. Shout out to Dr. Evil Genius. Welcome to the party. Another awesome YouTuber and great friend of the channel. How are you doing, Sid? Just popping in to support. Salute to you in chat and to you, sir. Thank you so much. Drop the link to his channel. Please go check him out. Thank you, sir.
if we lose all the
I don't
manufacturing.
think that's not necessary. That's not necessarily going to be the conclusion. There's a lot that could happen in between. There's a lot of negotiations
Such as?
that can take place. This is why you have ambassadors that go over there. What I am saying is that if I were president, and I'm not, okay, and obviously I'm sitting here giving you the Owens doctrine off the cuff, but obviously you'd have to sit down, and this is why you build a cabinet and you have people that are smarter than you in the cabinet talk about these things.
Fair enough.
You bring in the best business guys to talk about how you get around this. But what I am saying is that I would not be sending a single American son or daughter to die on foreign soil.
Okay, but what I'm not hearing is what you would do. What I'm not hearing is what you plan to or what you see happening because of that choice. That's what I'm not hearing. So he says Taiwan is important enough to make it worthwhile. I mean, what does that mean though? What does make it worthwhile? What does that mean? But sooner or later we have to take care of ourselves. Yes, sir, we do. Yes, sir.
So what about money, though? Because I agree with you. We don't need to be involved. I mean, everything that we've done post-World War II has been a freaking disaster. Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq.
I mean, hey, it's not a bad plan, but she sounds like she's a lot further down with this plan than it seems she is. Because if this is what she's saying, hey, I'm right there with you. That's my plan too. But I'm not out on podcasts telling people that I have answers. And if China invades Taiwan, that we don't do this, because I understand the economics. I get it. But just not one American, like, that seems empty. That seems missing. It seems like there's just talking points. So let's go back to our poll here from earlier. We were talking about AI surveillance. And the question is, AI surveillance good or bad overall for society? 79% of you said bad. And I'm inclined to agree. And I am stuck on, what Sauce was saying, that it's not a overall good thing. It's not an overall bad thing. It's just a thing. And it's a tool. And it's technology. And everything that we've ever developed in terms of technology. I'm trying to think if I really think this. But virtually everything, I'm sure there's exceptions, but virtually everything we've developed has found a usage. Even if it wasn't the initial usage, it's found a way through the free market to be able to find people, or it dies off. But it in the evolution of technology, similar to but different than natural selection evolution, the good stuff survives and the bad stuff falls away. But it's all building on itself. MJ said, well, he didn't specifically ask her what she would exactly do as a policy, and I understand that. But that's what I would expect to hear with that question. I wouldn't expect you to be needed to ask, well, what about when we have all these promises? I would expect that that's implied that this is going to affect that. And I've already taken that into account. And here's why what you're saying is either irrelevant or doesn't change my mind. That's what I'm waiting to hear. MJ said, people are always behind these tools, so it will be wielded by in a poo-poo way. And that's the other thing that I was going to say, is that even if we have a new technology that gets used in a not so great way, it's usually only a matter of time. That's usually only a period where it's getting adapted. And then it just comes down to, like every other tool, it comes down to the person. But you are right. There is always room for human error. MJ said, never talk too much. That is what we have learned from the police. Never give more than what is asked for. I mean, I hear you. I definitely agree with you when it comes to the cops. But when it comes to going on a podcast to show the world that you know about politics, I don't know about that's the best way to go about it. Nick says, true, but the government always finds a way to use anything for bad. I wouldn't trust any. I would trust any of you far more than any politician, as you should. Politicians are by default, their job is to make themselves seem better than they are. We just, I wish I could remember where it was from, but somebody just quoted Jordan Peterson saying, don't be better than you are. Don't be better than you are. Not meaning don't improve yourself, but instead meaning who you are. Don't present yourself as somebody who's better than that person. Because number one, then you're lying. And number two, then you don't have the opportunity to become that person in reality. MJ says, now don't go say some awesome stuff I want to respond to for the next 10 minutes while I check the banana bread. Only if you send me some. Only if you send me some. And exactly, just don't fake it. Don't fake it. And there's nuances and there's times where you want to fake it till you make it kind of thing. But general rule of thumb about living in society, don't be fake.
Now Ukraine, but we don't necessarily have boots on the ground per se. I know there's allegedly people there, but money or even soft power or influence. You talked about diplomatic relations. There has to be a little nuance. It can't just be like zero, we're done.
I'm fine with diplomatic relations. That's actually what I'm saying, is that we need more diplomatic relations is the whole point.
And again, I agree with you, but can you elaborate a little bit more? Can you elaborate a little bit more? It's not like these guys don't know politics. It's not like these guys can't get into it with you. And so my assumption is that when you have these platitudes, that you're not saying anything more intelligent than I could. Like I'm not a foreign policy whatever. I just break down conversations. So if you can't answer these questions better than I can, then why am I following you?
You know, and we need to stop strong arming and making these stances and sending billions of dollars and with no accounting, by the way.
And instead we should. Okay.
And things of that nature. But
I think they missed like a couple billion dollars.
Yeah, like a month ago, 2 months ago, the girl from the Pentagon was like, yeah, we had a mistake and there's $6 billion. We don't know where they're at. Really?
So if you
OD, the amount of money that just gets thrown around in these places that, just is completely unaccounted for, which is another reason why we're like, don't send the money over there because we don't know what the hell is going on with it. At least if it's here, then it's still going to get lost. And, there's no receipts for your taxes or anything. But at least it's at home. At least it's our own countrymen. So this one, this is my favorite one, talking about feminism through the whole Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis debacle.
I cannot imagine how any man thinks it's attractive for their girlfriend or for their wife to constantly be naked on the internet and available to other men. It's
just in case, anybody here, any women here who have maybe not come across this idea. Men don't like that. Men like the mystery. Men like the purity. Don't go on OF. Don't go on P-Hub. I mean, you can do it, but just don't complain to me. Ugh.
Gross, and so that's what I tell women. Men want to wonder about you. You just don't want to put everything out there. Sure, if you do put everything out there, men will want to sleep with you. They're biologically wired that way. Absolutely, you can get a man to slide into your DMs and want to sleep with you, but you are not wife material, and he knows that.
Yeah, like Logan Paul's situation. Can you imagine because I don't know none of the history. I saw him go down on his knee and he's proposing and she's like excited and there was that moment and then
I'm with him, guys. I don't know too much about the Logan Paul and Nina Agdel drama outside of the fact that Dylan Dennis is just blasting every whore thing that she's ever done all over the internet. So if there's stuff in here that you can fill in, please let me know.
You just see all the slew of every guy in every video. What do you think about that?
Okay, I'm gonna give a very nuanced take on that situation, and I think it's a lesson for women. Yes. So I actually loved Nina Agdal. I follow her on Instagram because I didn't know her youth until Dylan just dropped it. I knew her. I'm very into fitness, and she has this thing called like the Agdal method, and so I started following her. She was super pretty and doing all that stuff, and then obviously this battle between Logan and him got real and he starts dropping this. And this is what I say to women, unfortunately for her, she put on an entire record because it's popular to talk about cock and to be, this is what I'm saying. It's this.
Put a 1 in the chat if you've not seen the cock video that she is talking about, because we will definitely find that.
is a feminist simulation. Like, oh, it's hot to talk about your partners and talk about how you like cock and, you know, how you don't have a gag reflex. I mean, so crass. I had never seen these clips. So crass for her to say. And she did this because it's cool and it's relevant when you're young and in your 20s and you're a part of the free the nipple, you know, simulation. And
all right,
then
guys.
now it diminished her value. It did. And that's the truth. And
talk about diminished value. I show you Nina Agdal. How do you back these things up? I hate
We call it punch.
By the way, I'm very proud of myself. This is the longest I've ever gone without sex since I started. Obviously, it's driving me crazy. I am struggling.
Struggling.
I have a penis inside of me.
Like, would you if everything else, she's the perfect girl, and then you see this? Do you still marry her?
ASAP. Like, all I want is like a big fat sausage just destroying my body. So if any of you guys know a good dick that doesn't have STDs on it, I'll take it right here.
I bet you will. And exactly what you know, they're saying on PBD here. It's not like any of us would be like, no, thank you. I would happily lay some pipe, but ain't bringing you home to mama. Ain't bringing you home to mama. No, thank you.
And this should be a warning and a lesson for women. And she's obviously being honest in how humiliated she is and how she thinks it has impacted her life. It has impacted her life.
There's no question about it.
If Logan does not marry her, I don't think there's going to be a man that does not take this into account. I mean,
exactly what Guamtech is saying. Gross. Not into it. Imagine a guy saying that. Oh my God, I just need a sliz. And y'all got a sliz without... Ew, even I feel gross saying that. I mean, no, thank you. No, thank you. Zibby said she's trying so hard. Fake persona became the real one. Well, when it's cool to be all sexualized and all like that, then you know you're gonna follow the trends. I don't know how old she is. I assume she can't be more than 30-ish. And that's just like, that is what was normal for people our age. And it's coming back. It's coming back to, oh no. Where is it? Oh no. I don't know all these people, they're now coming to the place where it's all catching up with them. They're all like, oh, what was cool during my hoe phase, my hot girl city summer, whatever it is. Like, the bill comes due. So we said, how long did high school end for her? Let's see. Nina Agdal. Of course, it's the first one. She is 31. So that's like 10, 13, 14 years ago. So, I mean, not like that, but yeah. All right, let's go where we're.
Her life, it has impacted her life.
There's no question about it.
If Logan does not marry her, I don't think there's going to be a man that does not take this into account. I mean, the video.
That's where she's wrong. We would like to think that we live in a society of men strong enough to say, but don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. If Logan Paul is like, this is too much. You really think she can't find another dude? There's a reason that she felt comfortable saying those things on camera and posting them to the internet in the first place. Because it's unlike a guy, it wouldn't be seen as desperate like that. It's just like, oh, I'm proud of myself for not getting dicked down for the last 13 days. What? Like, you whore. You whore. Zippy says high school mentality, and there was so much rejoicing. Well, maybe too much dick does not allow your brain to grow. I don't know.
Videos are.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Do you think he will?
True.
I think he probably feels responsible for what happened to her. So he might, yeah.
Let's go with a poll for that one. Is Logan Paul going to go through with marrying Nina? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment or replay gang. Let me know in the comments below. Is Logan Paul going to go through with marrying Nina Agdal? Shout out to Bill Bradley in the building. Welcome, 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 sir. Good to see ya. Said dudes will have sex with girls that they have no romantic interest in at all. Many women seem to think that if a guy sleeps with them, that man must respect them. They don't understand men and don't care to. Yeah. Well said, sir. Well said, sir. Again, a shout out to Homath, who was on the channel, what was it, last month, a little while ago, doing his thing on TikTok, and showing and mapping out exactly how all of this stuff works and where, if not Nina specifically, where women like Nina, how they see the world, how they see the dating landscape, and why it's so pathetically circular and is never going to lead to happiness. And it's sad to see, but I mean, we can only do too much. We can only do so much. Welcome to the party, Bill Bradley. MJ's back, said if he does marry her, he will probably have regrets. Look at Harry and Meghan. She brought him nothing but spades. I mean, that's too many dudes. That's too many dudes who feel like marriage is the right thing, and then so very quickly, they're just like, I should have done this. I don't know. Why did I do this? I don't want to be here anymore. It's so painful. It's so hurtful. Gentlemen, most of you should not be getting married in this landscape. There are absolutely, let me say this loud and clear, there are absolutely great women out there today who are single, who would be amazing wives. How many of them and how few and far apart they are to you, and how relevant to their life you are, is the problem. So make sure that before you dive into something, just because she touches your pee-pee and she's got nice areolas, that, she's not stuck in a high school mentality rejoicing about 13 days with no dick.
I actually don't think it's as bad as I know Nina. She's from Miami. She's dated actually two of my very good buddies. Yeah. Like, it's not like some girl I met. Like, she dated
two of your buddies.
Oh yeah, Reed and
two of them. Because that's not a red flag at all. So he said, I think he will, and then divorce her in a year. That is, I mean, depends on what that prenup looks like. Because he's got money. He's got money. So it's definitely dependent on what that prenup looks like. But I think Candace was spot on in saying, like, well, I kind of got in this beef with Dylan Dennis, and then Dylan Dennis just has no shame in his game, and I kind of did this to you. Does he care? I don't know. I don't watch Jake Paul or Logan Paul or either of them. I don't know, but this probably seems like the most likely thing that's going to happen.
And Patrick, one's a famous DJ, one's a big realtor. You've met one of their partners.
Oh man, now Dylan's gonna drop the pics.
There we go. Now here goes the photos.
Oh, they're already out there.
Giving him more ammo. You're just trying to make Logan Paul and Nina's life as bad as you can. Just add a little bit of fuel to the fire. Why not? It's good for content.
They're already out there. Okay. And these guys are good dudes, good-looking dudes. I believe that she's just a sign of our times, feminism, liberalism. She's also a social climber. Like, before she dated Logan Paul, she dated Leonardo DiCaprio, Adam Levine. There was allegedly some stuff with.
We all know now.
Of course. But my point is this. She's also.
Shout out to Ziggs in the building. Welcome to the party. Saying hello to everybody. I love that. Welcome to the party, brother. Good to see ya.
A Sports Illustrated cover model. Mm-hmm. She's actually a good person.
Yeah, she seems sweet.
She's like, you said that you were a fan. Dylan Dennis is doing her super dirty now that she has a court restraining order, whatever going on like that. But I'll give you this. This goes back to your point. There's so many girls way worse than what she's doing.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
So many girls.
Well, that's the point though, isn't it? That's the point though. is that she looks good enough that you would expect that she would have a rotation. She is, according to them, she's, smart enough girl. She's not just some like ditzy bimbo. And what is going on? And yet still, she is swept up in this lifestyle, in this mentality that this is the way that ladies should behave. That is precisely the saddest part of all of this.
It was way worse.
But
than what she's
this is what I'm trying to say to him. Like, what this matters. I mean, I was very surprised by the stuff that she has said, and I think she said it to be funny, and that's supposed to be like a girl's being open about their sexuality. But men don't want that. It's extremely embarrassing to a man to look at videos of your wife talking about gag reflexes, your soon-to-be wife talking. It's really embarrassing.
It's a great case study. I will tell you, it's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love cock and go marry me. No thanks.
Case study for every parent.
Yep.
Phenomenal case study on what all the other girls worldwide right now watching this, laughing, doing whatever they're thinking. You can either do it to get eyeballs, like, oh my God, I can also do that. Let me make a video about, in the morning and all. Or you can say, hey, man, I can't have something like this because this thing's going to come back up to me one day and I'm going to have to face this.
Mothers, imagine bringing that girl home to your mom and your mom seeing this trending.
Oh, my.
Like, I would.
Yeah.
They're going to
shout out to Lauren Boebert. Y'all heard about Lauren Boebert, right? I mean, she has, 5 or 6 kids, and there's a video of her getting kicked out of it wasn't a movie theater. It was like a play, like not Broadway, but she was at a show. And she was vaping and doing some adult stuff. She got kicked. MJ said, "Is it really?" She brought up to how ladies are, or is it really what you do to get fame?
What?
Huh? I don't know. Can you reword that? I don't really understand what that means.
No,
Oh
the
my
entire family.
gosh.
Even though at first they're going to be like, I really like her.
Yeah.
And then, you know what?
I
She's
really
dating-
like
he's dating
her.
this girl.
Let me look.
Wait, do you know who this girl is?
Yeah.
That girl, but this girl and that guy. And
I have to say one more thing, though. I have to, because let's not forget one thing. She's actually beautiful. She's actually fit. She's
Yeah.
not some like
No, she's
OnlyFans model. She's not a prostitute.
She
She's not a
doesn't gag.
whore.
But that's the problem, is that with videos like this, she may as well be. There's a clear difference that she doesn't have, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off, the fact that he's saying. Clearly, she doesn't have the actual pictures and videos out there. But at least the women who put that stuff out there are getting paid for it, and they're still being classified as, like Bill is saying. This is exactly what the problem with the culture itself. It's the culture itself. And this is what happens when you separate, or rather refuse to separate, your truth claims from your values. This is what happens when, in order to be a good person, you have to be religious. It goes the other way, and then this becomes normal. That is, there is no other. There is no other way. You create 2 groups, and when there's enough people in the out group that they stop caring about being in the out group, they're just like, well, this is just how we live now. We're just degenerates all the time. Then there's no desire to be in line with what religious people think or say or do or anything else. Just said you said that she was brought up this way to think this is what women do. But I'm asking if it is what she's been brought up to get fame. Good question. I do not know. All I know is that I see a lot of women who do not have anywhere close to the following or the clout of somebody who's going to marry a Paul brother doing the same kind of stuff. So if it's just about fame, then there's a lot of women. There's a lot of women trying to get fame and failing miserably, and putting everything that they have that is pure and valuable about themselves out there in the process. Bill Bradley said she is a whore. She's not a prostitute or an OF model, but a whore. She's sleeping her way to economic improvement. The transaction may be indirect, but there is still payment. Well, I'll challenge you on that. Is there any woman, if we're talking about it's not direct, is there any woman who operates in this world in a different way than sleeping your way to economic improvement? Who are married. That part's important. Quantex said, I'll be honest. I'm okay with women being able to express these views in private with their partner or even their girlfriends. It's the fact that it's put out for the world to see, and that's the problem. Yeah, I mean, you know, you've had you tell stories among your friends, and especially like if you're, you know, in the confines of a marriage or a relationship, that's completely different. That's completely different. We are not privy to this relationship, so we should not be seeing videos like that. It's that simple. Unwanted Foe said, so will Logan divorce her because he's tired of only being allowed to record her having sex with others, or will she divorce him first for his money? I guess we got a new poll. Who initiates the divorce? I see you, Morty. Hold on. I see you, Morty. Hold on. All right. There we go. Come here, Bubs. Hey, we got Morty in the building. Let's see if he's gonna eat his. There we go. Oh, you missed it. Sorry. We'll get another one for him. Here. That's from Dr. Evil Genius. And Unwanted Foe. Thank you. All right, where were we? Zig says, we doing better. The project looks good. Continue to learn with these streams. Yeah, I don't know where Melty is. He's probably sleeping. He's always sleeping. Bill Bradley said, back in the day, when people got married, young women had to gamble on whether or not a man had potential. This waiting at the finish line in their proven success stories makes your argument stronger. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cultural change that we've seen, that it used to be that you would see somebody who has drive and ambition and take the journey of life with them. And now it's just waiting at the finish line to see who's got who's going to be first. Context said, the divorce to gain more attention, probably a mutual agreement at that point. Smart man. I think, yep. I think you got it. They've already got it planned out. They've already got the divorce papers ready and signed. Just not yet. It's all about the timing. It's all about the attention. It's all about the clout.
And like, let's forget, she actually is conventionally beautiful. On the other hand, look at Lizzo. Yeah. You want people to be like Lizzo? Lizzo has no dirty videos out in the video, yet
Lizzo has no dirty videos out? If we're calling this a dirty video, then Lizzo is made up. Her entire career is made up of Melted by Media had his mind melted. He did it for all of us. He tried to keep the media that melts your mind away and got his own mind melted in the process. Shame. But yeah, Lizzo definitely has dirty videos out there. They may not be as sexual as what you expect to find on P-Hub or something, but they're definitely dirty videos. MJS, anyone remember the movie, The First Wives Club? I've heard about it. I never watched it. It was about the women that help their husbands make it and then get set aside for a new model. And that is the other side of this. That absolutely is the other side of this. That if you're a high value man and you are a woman looking at one of these high value men, then what are you going to do? In the same way that the average woman has the options as to who to sleep with from a wide range and a big number, same thing happens with the men who are at the quality level, shall we say, that they can choose. And this is why women need to readjust their their scale to understand that maybe just because a 10 slept with me one time and didn't call me back, maybe that doesn't mean that I deserve a 10 to marry me. Just maybe. Maybe I'll go out and try a short dude. Any film said, I think she'll definitely initiate the divorce because she'll get the attention from some other men, then another man, and then another man. You guys are on top of this. I want to post it. Oh, Lizzo's outfit are dirty. What is he on? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bill says Lizzo made her backup dancer eat a banana that came out of a stripper's vagina. What point does he think he is making by bringing up Lizzo? I think what he's trying to say is that people aren't going to treat Lizzo the same way that they're treating Nina, despite the fact that she is not some clean, wholesome woman. I think, but we're gonna have to see. Bill says women should not act like either Lizzo or this blonde girl. True. So let's see where he's taking this. Let's
forget, she actually is conventionally beautiful. On the other hand, look at Lizzo.
Yeah.
You want people to be like Lizzo? Lizzo has no dirty videos out in the video, yet she's the definition of freaking beauty, I guess.
There's a big difference.
That's what I was saying, is that in societally, she's seen as like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, beautiful at any size. Like, oh my God, you're being like, what's the word? Like you're so liberated and empowered by dancing around in a thong, even though you're 700 pounds. Yuck.
She has no dirty videos.
No.
Have you seen her Instagram? She's absolutely disgusting.
No, meaning like porn videos. And you know what point? But should men idolize someone like Lizzo now?
And that's why Nina is actually a great case study.
But like, what is this? What is this? Why is this something that you can just Google? That is not something that should be available on Google.
Because she doesn't. She's not on OnlyFans.
That's the
she's
point.
not selling her body, and she's still suffering the consequences.
Yes, that's the point.
I told you I like her. I've followed her. Like I agree with you. I think she's beautiful, fit, all of those things. But the bigger point is that she's not even a prostitute. And look at how this is coming back to haunt her.
And right. So even if you're not spreading your cheeks, even if you're not blah, 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 for $3.99 a month, you can still be seen as a whore, as a prostitute, as all of these trashy things. Because all you have to do is not. That's all. There's so much that men have to do to be seen as valuable in this world. Women, all you have to do is not be a whore, and you win. Work out a little bit, and you're good. Bill said Lizzo is supposedly brave for being so unashamedly obese. More normalizing disgusting lifestyles. Yep. Nick said that should be worth more than being a backup dancer. That's not enough money in the world. Hell no. I mean, I might not really be. You know what? Let's just move on.
Pat, you having kids, and Candace, you having children. And what the other flip side of it is, and this is going to like a Kim Kardashian, like this girl, Pat. What's her name?
The one that started on this one.
So she's gonna have kids one day. The internet, that doesn't go away. Those videos are always gonna be there. Like the Kim Kardashian, I think about a year ago, she was crying, bawling because Kanye tried to buy the video of the sex tape. Those kids, it's not going to go away. Your kids are going to see that.
But by the way, listen, you want fast success, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You want fast money, go sell cocaine.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget that whole thing was planned. The Kardashian sex tape. That whole thing was planned by what's her face? Kris. Is it Kris Kardashian? Or is it? I feel like it's a different name. But whatever. The mom. After, Big Nose Kim Kardashian was the underling for Paris Hilton and saw what happened with Paris Hilton's sex tape. They were like, oh, this is what we got to do. So never forget that tape was planned.
You want fast success? Make stupid videos of you, sex tapes, and release it. Trust me, immediately you can be famous starting off with a high school. Then you can be famous in a college. And then if you have some kind of momentum, it could be national. Nobody's talking about it depending on who the guy is, right?
And in today's culture, it will be celebrated. Oh my God, that's so brave. I wish I had to be, I wish I was as liberated and empowered as you. You go, girl. Yeah. Leaked.
But that fame comes with consequences, and you have to live with that for 10, 20 years. So if you're okay with that speed, go for it. So for her, this happening to her, she's not a dummy. This is not a girl that's a dummy.
Nina or Kim?
No, Nina's not a dummy.
Okay, so then either you know, what you guys are saying is she's purposely, you know, putting up this front so that later on there's more attention that they can get out of it. Or, like we're saying, you don't have to be the world's biggest whore. You don't have to be disgusting and you know, compared to every other woman to get these types of labels. And these labels don't go away. That is the point here. That you have to think about, and this has been something that men have understood forever. Not saying that men haven't made mistakes to ruin their lives, but this has always been the case. That like you get one accusation when you're 16 years old and your life is over. It's just now women have created an opportunity for their own selves to be typecast or pigeonholed or whatever you want to say. I don't get it. Unwanted Foe said their fake female friends would say, I wish I was as brave and as empowered as you, while internally judging the hell out of it. Bingo. Yep. Women have become bad men, unfortunately.
Knows what she's saying and what, you know, the video you're making, stuff like that. And at this point, with what's happened there with the situation, her, Dylan, Logan, all this stuff, so he has to marry her.
Wow.
He has to marry her.
That sounds, even the sound of that, he has to. Because if he doesn't, then she's just going to be thrown to the wolves. Like, I mean, maybe you deserve what you get in life. Maybe.
Has to marry her. There is no, now you can marry and divorce in 3 years, but he has to marry her now because he will look for the rest of his life. He's going to have to say, Dylan is the one that got you to leave that girl.
Oh, you're probably
it's
right.
Permanent. He has to marry the
He
girl.
also has to beat Dylan in this fight.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one,
this article saying America first.
Hold on. So I mean, yeah, that's Guantech was right on point. That they're probably already planning this. They're probably already planning to sensationalize their lives in a way that is going to get them more money. Isn't she already sleeping with the wolves? Pretty much. She may, yeah, she's already there. Bill said men have to face consequences. Many women seemingly expect to have no consequences. Well, that is the message that they are told. That's the message they are told. This is how the world works. You need to be strong, independent, don't need no man. And if anything goes wrong, the government's there to plug up all the holes, if you know what I mean. So we got two more here. This one is about school education.
U.S. News just came out with this article saying America first, ? The best countries in the world according to Americans. Okay. I don't know who they got these polls from, but again, the annual.
Okay. Everybody in one, and don't like do 5 different things. Just put 1 and 5. Top 5 countries in the whole world. So obviously, America. I'm trying to think if there's anything that separates a particular European country, or I don't know. That's actually, I don't know if I could do that actually. Top 5 countries in the world. Top 5 countries in the world. This is what Americans are saying. They're the top 5 countries in the world. A lot tougher than I thought.
Best countries ranking by the U.S. News. The United States dropped to number 5 from number 1, as determined by perception-based analysis of over 17,000 respondents worldwide. However, when considering American respondents alone, the ranking improved with the top 3 countries being UK, they went up 8, +8. New Zealand went up 6.
It's tough, right? I didn't think it would be that complicated, but to only pick 5 is tough. Like, yeah, best place to live, best laws, best money. Like, what do you think is the best country?
And U.S. went up.
Indie Film said 1 through 5. USA, and Ireland. But USA, let's go.
2. The U.S. ranked number 2 for attributes like entrepreneur spirit, strong consumer brands, easy access to capital, culturally significant entertainment, and being a place people would live. America.
Okay, wait. They were given the
U.S. ranked number 2 for attributes like entrepreneur spirit, strong consumer brands,
So this is the just top 10 best countries in the world. So number 1 is the United Kingdom.
What?
Then we got New Zealand. We rank ourselves
Easy access to capital.
We rank ourselves at number 3. Australia, Sweden, Canada, Japan. I would have to put Japan up there for sure. Switzerland would probably be on the list, as would Sweden, maybe. I don't know. It's a lot tougher than I thought. That's tough. Because there's kind of like what MJ's asking about. There's a lot to take to factor in.
Culturally significant entertainment, and being a place people would live. American respondents also view their country are more favorably in areas such as affordability.
Oh, good catch. Good catch. Oh my goodness. How did I not see this? And how did they not see this? The poll is actually telling the U.S. education system because the UK isn't a country. It's a collection of countries. So what they would want to say is Britain or Northern Ireland or Wales. MJ said, I'm too ignorant about countries today. I haven't been abroad for a long time now. Sure, that's what they all say. That's what they all say. I mean, I guess, yeah, we're just going USA all the way.
Ability plus 38 spots, scenic beauty plus 37 spots, racial equity plus 27 spots, and environmental concern plus 2 spots. Compared to global perceptions, Americans viewed their country as less transparent. In government practices, minus 61 spots.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Business practices, minus 39 spots.
So I would like to see all of these that he's addressing. I don't know why they're just stuck on this one thing here, but interesting.
And
so let's say what percentage out of 0% to 100%, what percentage do you trust the government? Let's say government, the transparency of government practices, 0 to 100. Give me a number for the U.S. MJ says 0. Zippy says Europe is kind of worse, but the people put up with it more. Yep. MJ said 0 again and again. All right. I get it.
Less favorable tax environment, minus 27 spots.
Wow.
And income equality, minus 21 spots. So Americans viewed their country.
Wow.
Their country. Do you think America is still the greatest country in the world?
Do I think that America is still the greatest? I think America has always been the greatest experiment in the world, an experiment with freedom. And right now, I would say that we are failing in, like I said, our country is in decline. And I think every person can admit that.
Very politicky answer. Squantex says 10%. So he said, trust the government to do well for government. The people, not. Bill Bradley said, I mean, is it transparent given that they don't even hide the corruption anymore? Kind of. That they're just straight up, like, they don't even care to hide it anymore. They don't even care to hide it. I mean, that's what transparency means. That doesn't mean they're doing the things that you like. It means that you understand the things that they're doing. So, good point. Doesn't make it any better, but, MJ agrees with a Zippy. Nick's like, maybe 0.001. Maybe. Cracking up in the question. What kind of question is that? I didn't ask it. I'm just throwing it back to you guys. Jesus.
And many times I ask myself whether or not it's an illusion, whether democracy is an illusion, whether freedoms are an illusion. And I think especially coming out of COVID, we really saw how unfree America was.
So we're going back here. Our poll, who initiates the divorce, Logan or Nina? 67% of you said Nina. So let's go with, is democracy an illusion? Is democracy an illusion? Maybe all of this is an illusion. Maybe we don't exist. Maybe we're just brains in a vat and nothing's real. Zooey says there's 0 transparency in U.S. government until everyone elected or appointed in government wears NASCAR uniforms. Hell yeah. That's, yeah. Nick, I think I was right there with you at the 0.001, but Zippy makes a point, and I think that's got to bring us back down to zero.
And how really it's become a bureaucracy. There's just a bunch of bureaucrats in DC that are running
bureaucrats or bureaucrats
everything. And so what America was supposed to be as established by the founding fathers, yes, I think that is the most incredible vision that has ever been brought forth, the American experiment. And that is what I fight for every single day. It's the reason why I get up out of bed, because I know that it's possible for us to get back there. And it starts with everybody becoming disillusioned.
Do you agree with this one guy named Joe? I think his name is Joseph Biden. I don't know if you know this guy or not.
I don't think he knows who this guy is.
She's like, I don't think he knows who he is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean, obviously we're in reference to the conversation that they're having, democracy as is today. But you know, what do you think? What do you think? I want to post that democracy works in small scale. And so what is the upper limit of that scale, and what happens beyond that? Bill says democracy in the US is an illusion, as shown by the 2012 Princeton study that showed policy has no relation to the desire of the working class voter. Zippy says democracies are a grift, as the committee will always screw you over for gain. Now, let's remember, we have a democratic republic here, so it's not a pure democracy where we have mob rule. But the idea of democracy is embedded heavily into our governmental structure.
I think you're right. By the way, we can play a clip. If you can play this clip, is it Kirby? If you,
Pat, before you play the clip,
They told me
I want to
time
ask
to
you the
stop now
same
and take
question
a
you
nap.
just asked Candace, because you're best known for that line that they said about you on Fox News, born and around, made in America.
Yeah.
You see these polls, you know, UK, I can tell you that UK is not number one based on personal experience.
Nor, as Bill pointed out, is it a country.
What would you say? Are we still the greatest country in the world?
I say 100% we still are, but at the same time, I'm the
Send me some.
optimist. I'm the synergist who's extremely paranoid. Naturally, I'm a startup entrepreneur. I'm a paranoid guy that we have to constantly fight to keep it together and call out bullshit. The best part about what's going on right now with America is, you know, the number used to be 40 immigrants. Now we have 51 million immigrants. It's the number one data to look at when you look at what country is the best country in the world. Why do we dominate the world in immigration? People still want to come here, not other places.
So, and this is, you know, what MJ was saying before, is that they don't assimilate to our culture. So the reason that they want to come here is the economic opportunity, not the cultural values that we hold, or at least they don't necessarily have to be mutually exclusive. But the money is the reason. It's for economic gain. It's not because they love American freedoms, and maybe they don't know how to love American freedoms because they've never had that level of freedom. And maybe you know, a lot of them, including, you know, my own parents, came to this country and assimilated and you know, are very happy with their lives. But you know, and MJ said this discussion isn't helping me feel hopeful. Well, things aren't very hopeful right now. I'm glad that you're feeling better from the baking, but baking every day is not going to fix the country. It's sure as shit not going to fix the world. So I mean, I wish that I could just come and I mean, I could just come and tell you things that you want to hear to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But then I wouldn't be doing my job. Then I wouldn't be doing what we need to do to get to a place where having these conversations can be hopeful. We have to go through the darkness before we meet the dawn. So I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Bill said direct democracy can work when allowed to. States with ballot initiatives show that when citizens pass things with ballot initiatives, that sounded like the work allowed to. States with ballot initiatives show that when citizens pass things with ballot initiatives. What's the rest of that sentence? That's not a full sentence. Wanted Foe said, medieval age individual villages. That's about the size where democracy works as intended. And so then So why do you think that there's such a like, especially on the left, they always talk about our democracy, you know, it's putting our democracy in danger. Why is that line, that phrasing, why do they use that so much? When we haven't lived on direct, I don't know why I can't say that, direct democracy ever. I don't get it. Zippy says to Bill, the public are too easily misled, more so when you have too many people. Yep. States that legalize pot with ballot initiatives or set new minimum wage is direct democracy working. Propaganda is an issue, but direct democracy can work. I don't know about that, because the propaganda states that legalize, but the ballot initiatives are not put. I guess they can be, but a lot of times it's not like individual citizens getting one list and then bringing it to the board. It's you have people who are representing other smaller groups. So I don't know where, you know, I don't know, like if you have 5 people and you go to a town meeting and you say one person is at the microphone and say, we want these things. Now, like, I guess that still counts as direct democracy because you're talking about all 5 of those people. But at what point does the person at the microphone become the representative? That's kind of where I'm stuck a little bit. MJ said, it's like the word folks is used by politicians. It's the latest catchphrase. Well, folks was big with Obama. We tortured some folks. But now folks has become big because it's gender neutral. So you can't offend anybody if you say folks. Democracy in danger is their way of saying the rules are being encroached on. Yeah, but they're the ones encroaching on them. MJ said, I don't think any of these ideas can work. They're developed by humans, and humans aren't perfect and can't maintain perfection. Sure, but that doesn't mean that humans can't come up with systems that work. We have plenty of systems that work, whether it's within science or medicine or society itself. I think when it comes to the entire project of governing humanity, yeah, we haven't gotten there. And I mean, a lot of us don't really want to flirt with the idea of a global governing. But that doesn't mean that humans are incapable of coming up with a system that works. Ontex says, democracy under attack is just a scare tactic for the people that don't even think about what democracy is. True. Yeah, too many problems, too many people, too many problems. But Bill says you can say no, but states have legalized pot and increased minimum wage with ballot initiatives, and those are successes. Yeah, the question is, at what point do we say a ballot initiative, which is put forth by XYZ organization, at what point is that a direct democracy, and at what point is that group representing the will of those people? So he says, what can work are rule sets that protect the individual or individual will a bit more than the public.
Bingo.
There you go. MJ says, systems that work for a majority, but someone still gets the poop end of the stick. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any, like, we're talking about utopia. If everybody just gets, nobody gets the shit out of the stick. I think we're talking about a utopia. So if that's not a realistic goal, then we can talk about our ideals. We talk about this all the time. What is the ideal utopian society? Okay, great. Now, what is the closest practically and realistically that we can get to that? That's what we should be. That's what we should be focusing on. Somebody says, no, their rules, 2A and the like, go against their Jim Crow laws. That's a little over my head. MJ said, we don't have a 100% system that is equal action on all people, nor should we. That is called communism. Yeah, send me some too. Bill said, the will is evidenced by the direct vote. Not sure what the question is here. So how many, what I'm asking is, if you have a ballot initiative that is representing multiple people. So I'm not saying that that is not democracy. I'm saying at what point, when you have a ballot initiative that's large enough that is put forth by not every single person who wants that to be passed, then we're talking about democratic republic. We're talking about a representative government. Where does that change? MJ said it's only democracy if all those affect exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if we have a ballot initiative and I'm not voting on the ballot initiative, even though I want what's in the ballot initiative to be law, then somebody else is representing me in that ballot. So, and I mean, this might be just an ignorant question about the difference between direct democracy and democratic republic. I don't understand where does it become, where is it direct democracy and where is it representative? Democracy is not everyone getting what they want. It is majority rule. Direct democracy is the rule of the majority by direct vote. But again, that's what we're saying. By a ballot initiative doesn't mean that. Okay, I think I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. This is kind of what I was getting at. If only some people vote, then it isn't really democracy. I don't really know the real term for that. This is kind of where I was getting to. Between what MJ is saying and what I'm saying, Bill, does that get you a little bit closer to what I'm wondering? Because it sounds like it just doesn't sound like we're asking the right questions. MJ says, how do you know if it is majority rule if not everyone that's allowed to vote isn't voting? Exactly. So if we only have 26% of people, so if we say no one, then does it not matter? Is that if we're saying nobody's being prevented from voting, then we're just saying that the majority of people who wanted to vote, it's still like it's their choice not to vote. It's not that they don't have the opportunity. Is that what we're saying? Choosing not to vote is not the same as being prevented from voting. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm understanding. So at the point, yeah, choosing not to vote is your vote. So as long as you have that choice, then even if you don't engage and participate, then as long as there is the option for you to voice your opinion, then it's direct democracy. Gotcha. All right, we got there. I knew you'd have it. But so MJ, what he's saying is that that just because they chose not to vote doesn't detract from the fact that they were able to vote. Yeah. So, and if they didn't know, then again, if it's a direct democratic vote, then it's your responsibility to know that. So I would still say that choosing to not be informed is quote unquote your fault with the caveat that Ziggs has here. Is that fair? But MJ, you're saying you didn't choose not to vote. You didn't know. But but that's your responsibility. It's not it's not their responsibility to make sure you know. It's the people who want you to vote their way will put out signs and campaign on the local news. But Bill, back me up here because I'm just starting to understand this right now. But if there's no barrier, like if there's no person that's set to, oh, you can't vote. You just tell me what you want and I'll vote. If it's not that, and you have the option to vote, but you didn't know about it, then it means that you didn't do your civic duty to understand what are the requirements for being part of this direct democracy. Okay, so that's the point. All right. And so I think Bill is saying what I was saying, that you have to engage with the system. If you choose not to engage, it's not the same thing as being prohibited. Some of it is personal responsibility. Yeah. So if it's your responsibility to know what ballot initiatives are there. It's not the government's responsibility to tell you, hey, guess what? Just in case you forgot, we're voting, or just in case you didn't look it up, or just in case you didn't talk to anybody, just in case you didn't. It's not. The ballot initiative is here. If you don't know about it, then learn about it. And again, with not that one, with the caveat that I'm not saying I'm saying if this is the case, I don't personally blame you. I would say there should be signs. There should be, ways for people to know this. But at the end of the day, it's not their responsibility. If there's no communication into the public to capture even those who would be, then it's a bit devious. I mean, yeah, the whole thing is a bit devious. A bit is underwhelming when it comes to the deviousness. That is not up for question. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of people who didn't know what do you mean with I don't see the connection between those two. They held a meeting without 24 hours notice, and the public wanted to be involved, and then they didn't know. So that's wrong. But it's based on the same concept that it's not their responsibility to let you know, and that's why the system is fucked. But that is what it is. Which is a couple weeks ago. Yep, makes sense. Yeah, Bill says there's a lot of bad actors. This system is indeed devious. There's no question. There's no question that they will do things like that specifically because they know that they can get away with it. That's the whole point. But again, it's your responsibility, all of our responsibility, to understand that they are playing this game against us and we are playing this game against them. That's our roles. That's not how it should be. We should all be on the same side. But sunshine laws. What's a sunshine law? Sunshine law. Sunshine laws are regulations requiring public discourse, a disclosure of government agency meeting and records. Sunshine laws require specific businesses and government agencies to maintain transparency and disclose their activities to the public. Right, but again, we can go to the degree of, well, we put out a Twitter post, and if you didn't know, then you should have been following the proper thing. I think it's that, like you said, that's devious. That's wrong. That should, those are bad actors. But that is what that is the system that we're talking about. Guantex says all this is just reinforcing the idea of a national holiday. Vote for me. I am right there with you. One day, same day voting, in person only, national holiday. Let's do it. Let's do it. MJ said, you do know that people in Maui still didn't have phone or internet connection when they made those changes. Again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's not Maui's government's responsibility to make sure that they have the means to understand. As long as they have something put out there, as shady as that is their burden of responsibility. Shout out to Mike Mackey. Welcome to the party. Said the founders disliked democracy and considered it a self-destroying system of governance. Once the majority discovers the ability to vote themselves, the fruit of others' labor, the majority discovers the ability to vote themselves, the fruit of others' labor, goodness, it collapses. Well said, sir. Welcome to the party. Zig said, if you TikTok, there's no excuse that you don't know when to vote with. But there's specific things. Like, we're not talking about, the general election for the president that's always on the same day every year. We're saying, like, this week, government passes things constantly. So to what MJ is talking about, like, if the phone and internet and TV and everything is down and you can't get to your email, you can't get to YouTube, you can't get to any of these things, even though the government has put out a notice saying, hey, we're voting on this thing, theoretically, they have met their burden by telling the public. Because technically, it's your responsibility to make sure you know what's going on. It's not their responsibility to make sure that you get the message. And again, that's fucked. Jay said, as the media monopoly is deciding what to allow the public to be seen. Yep. All right, let's see where we were here.
The number one data to look at when you look at what country is the best country in the world. Why do we dominate the world in immigration? People still want to come here, not other places. for me, if the country is so bad, why are still people wanting to come here? Not other places.
Because
now
we're weak.
Well, it could be because our borders are wide open on the bottom. I agree with that.
That's another good point. Remember, as MJ said earlier, that it's not that they're coming here because, oh my God, I love America so much. It's just like, well, I can make a lot more money in America, which slightly different, but very much different.
Can't get into Japan. They don't care if you're born there, live there. They're like, you're never becoming a citizen.
But guess what? You got a lot of other options to go to. People still from the Middle East, they dream about coming to America. People still from, Russia, other places, still want to come here. China's net migration is in the negative. They're losing people.
I think it's because we control, and that speaks to the poll that you mentioned about cultural significance. I think that we dominate Hollywood, we dominate the media, and they have an idea of what America is. And I think probably when they get here, it's not what they thought.
So what would be a better country?
I'm just saying that, like,
that's interesting that they see the movie. And I just before we were watching this, I had a TikTok that was this English woman who moved to, I think it said Texas or something, I don't know, but she moved to America, and she was talking about like how she had never been here to check things out. She'd only seen things in the movies, and she thought it was like the Wild West with like saloons on the corner and everything. And so that's a great point about how much media is, or not how much, but the way in which media is exported from this country. That there's a very squeaky clean image of what we want, we meaning the government, wants them to see. I mean, take a look at any even poster from a Marvel movie in the West versus in China. Why not? MCU poster, USA versus China. This AI thing. All right, so let's see. Perfect example. We have. I swear to God, if this is tiny, I'm gonna murder some. Okay. Well, I didn't want to do that, but image. Why is it? Okay, whatever. I don't care. What is happening? All right, and we'll do this one. Thank you. So you can see that in China, they didn't want to show a black man on the thing. So they this is not what is this? This is like some Batman shit. Then they have like all these. You can see differences on like this is the Chinese one. They move all the black characters, the non-white characters, all that kind of stuff. They mess around with it because they export the message that they want to be seen. All right, Zippy, you have a good one. Feel better, sir. The bill says the media and government are both owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. Part of how the whole system is devious. BlackRock and Vanguard, top investors in basically all publicly traded companies, banks, oil companies, media companies, etc. All of it. I believe they said 88% of the S&P 500 or something like that. I don't know 100% exactly what that means, but it means that they control a lot. Zig says the Demons and the Republicans is the problem. They do as they please. All right, good one. Bill Bradley says the DNC and the GOP do what international finance tells them to do. The international financiers own interest in all publicly traded companies. They have access to almost incalculable wealth. Yep, but yet they still got a money grub and take 30% of everything that I get from YouTube, and they got to tax. Oh my God, tax your dollar to shit, right? God damn.
You get here, it's not what they thought.
So what would be a better country?
I'm just saying that, like, I'm just trying to think of why people want to get to America, because at one point we were those things. It's I always liken it to what I thought Los Angeles was gonna be before I got there. I remember my whole life I was like dreaming to go to Los Angeles.
Hollywood.
Yes, I was like Hollywood. Oh my God, amazing. And then when I had my
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is that if you've never been to LA and you just this is what it's in the movies, and this is within your own country. So why would you think that if you're in the Middle East, or if you're in China, or if you're in South America, why would you think anything? Why would you have a better understanding of what America is really like?
first trip out to LA,
Horrible.
I was like, this looks like a dilapidated South American city.
Yeah.
I would say,
Seriously.
let me give you another perspective on this to be thinking about. In America, you still have 50 options. Okay. You can live in America and have 50 choices, meaning you don't like California, go to Florida. By the way, Newsom has to answer the question, why under your watch the greatest state lost people since 1851? And why are they still losing money? Why is it that data comes out showing the AGI, the top 10 highest tax states in America, lost $341 billion of tax revenue?
And they lost it to states that have lower taxes, right?
And the bottom lowest tax states gained $341 billion.
Like, obviously, that money went somewhere.
You have to make the argument. So in America, you have options to go different places. I can go to a different region and have to have low regulation. You know, people in Florida are complaining about the fact that teachers, the teachers who are woke, they're not protected in Florida. Great, go to California. Totally okay with that. So that's the thing about America, because it has the Constitution set up the way it is, you can compete. And if you don't like the policies in a state, there's still another state for you.
So is he, it sounds like he's kind of putting forth this notion of a soft national divorce, where we naturally migrate to the states that have the laws and the culture that we prefer. That's what it sounds like he's proposing, because I've heard, I mean, I haven't done a deep dive or anything, but I've heard people who talk about, like, yes, let's do a national divorce, let's just get it over with, and then a lot of other people saying, like, that's not going to work. That's just not going to work. And I don't know enough to understand why it wouldn't work. But from what I remember hearing at the time, there's just too many intricacies of splitting the country into two different countries. But if we can remain as the United States, but there are two clear delineations, or there's two clearly different types of states that don't even have, it doesn't even have to be like the left and the right side, or the top or the bottom. It could just be this is a red state, this is a blue state, this is a red state, this is a blue state. And in these states, then they behave like different countries. We're just all under the same red, white, and blue. Sounds like a good idea to me. But Bradley says advocating for states' rights is how I took it. Okay, fair enough. Which, in theoretically, with the culture war, would probably lead to that soft divorce, right? Bill goes on to say, which is the original idea? United States, a union of semi-autonomous states. That was the initial idea. Yeah, but that's the founding fathers. What do they know? Yeah.
And if you want to, find a way to improve, run for office, do something about it. You can change. But, these things, there's options in America. Tom, I think you want to say something.
Yeah, and this story we're talking about, the ranking, you have to understand how these rankings are done. This is the media putting together this ranking, asking people about 20 questions. What do you think about America for sports, for economy, for scenic beauty, all these things?
Okay, so MJ, this is what he's talking about right now is how they, what kind of things they were asking about when they were ranking the countries.
People about ranking. You have to understand how these rankings are done. This is the media putting together this ranking, asking people about 20 questions. What do you think about America for sports, for economy, for scenic beauty, all these things? And then they make the ranking together. Americans did not say, I have UK #1, New Zealand #2, and USA #3. First of all, if I showed most Americans a map of the Hawaiian Islands and I said, which one is New Zealand? They'd pick one.
Oh, how can I do this? I want to be able to, I want to try to test you guys with this, but I don't know how I would do it. I'm going to sit on that. I'm going to think of that. So make sure you know where New Zealand is. It's by Australia.
So, let's talk about reality. But you understand they make a ranking out of this, and then U.S. News, not known for centrist values, comes out and says Americans rank. No, Americans didn't rank. They asked a bunch of perceptions, and they put together basically a golf score, and America ends up in 3rd place.
That's what we call media fuckery, or on this channel, semantic obfuscation, using words in a way that they are not meant to be used to try to push across a message that doesn't correlate with reality.
And so I think that there's also things going on like that, where the media is trying to find ways to kind of propagate this "we ain't so good." And I'm with you on the vision. I have tremendous hope and confidence in the future vision. Do I think that there needs to be bottoming points, like when an alcoholic uncle reaches the bottom and decides he's going to change? I think countries need those bottoming points.
And that's what happens with the fourth turning. That we are now the weak men who are about to bring on the bad times. Hopefully, we are closer to the bad times than the weak men, but we are in that part of the cycle. That good times bring weak men. Us, we are the weak men. Unfortunately, and it's not gendered. So, ladies, y'all are weak too. We're all weak as fuck. We are bringing on bad times. Things are getting worse, but we can start to see things change because bad times bring strong men. And what do strong men bring? Good times. So maybe in our maybe in our lifetime, we will be able to see an America that we can be proud of again. Maybe, just maybe. Daniel says, I have a completely unrelated question. How is universal healthcare supposed to work financially? That's a very big question. So, I mean, what I think would be the most reasonable way that this would play out would be that we have enough revenue from certain areas, certain things, like with the insurance industry and certain other industries that are directly correlated that would be either replaced or just work very differently. There's a lot of money that goes, and especially with lobbying and stuff, that goes into those areas. Now, the particulars, I have no goddamn idea. But those gaps will then create those gaps. Then there's money out there on the table that people aren't, that, you know, the insurance companies aren't taking it anymore. And so theoretically, there should be enough money to pull from other places to put for universal healthcare. Because that is something that I do think that Americans should have. I think that we live in a technologically advanced enough, a rich enough country where that should be something that is not a human right based on God or anything, but as an American, that you are you get healthcare. Now, again, I don't know the particulars, but it would have to be something like that, where there's a lot of bloat in the government and the private sector relating to healthcare, and instead of that money just being spent there, then we can spend it on actually giving people care. And theoretically, that should be less money that we're spending, less taxes, less everything. Bill said these bad times vilify strong men, however. Not sure that was true at any other point in history. Great point. Very, very, very sad. But it is a great point. Daniel says, no, sir. Strong men bring toxic masculinity. The left said so. Good one. Montefello said, men are weak? Yes.
Hell yeah.
+2 social. Oh, Morty. God damn. Oh. Dog farts be like. Anyway, sorry. Jesus. Men are weak, +2 social points. Women are weak, -10 social points for being a misogynist. Welcome to America.
Still think this is the greatest place. I agree that it's the greatest parchment ever produced in terms of the American experiment. But I also think that right now we have a ton of issues. And number one is we can't have our own national, media trying to find the good in it instead of gleefully talking about a stack ranking, which if Americans had actually spent one day in London, they'd come back home and they'd be voting a hell of a lot.
This is where I was going with Candace before you asked me about how I felt about it.
Sorry to rant.
No, I love that.
Which I think needs to be expressed.
I'm totally okay with that. No, what I was going to ask is, Kirby's being interviewed and being asked about, hey, how do you feel about where Joseph Biden is, where the president is, comments he's making, all this other stuff. And, he says the biggest issue in America is white supremacy. What do you think the biggest issue in America today is?
Well, I mean, obviously it's white supremacy. Like, is there a bigger problem facing Americans than white supremacy? I mean, really? wait. There's people out here thinking, unironically, that there's problems in America facing Americans that's bigger than white supremacy. No, it can't possibly be.
Oh gosh, the white supremacy. They're just never going to let it go. They're never going to let it go. I think I've testified twice on hearings where they are trying to tell you that white supremacy is the biggest issue.
You were at the hate crime hearing where you just ruined everybody. You fact checked everybody in real time. Jerry Nadler, everybody was like, you had everybody stunned, which was amazing. If people haven't seen
that, was awesome.
And I go check
that. And that's
if you have not seen that, check that out.
Because I remember I said in my congressional testimony, if I had to make a list of 100 things that were impacting Americans, white supremacy wouldn't make the list. And I mean that seriously. Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question. I can give you a few things that are ranked very importantly, but I don't want to say what I would say is first. But
yeah, Bill says we can't have more than half of U.S. adults reading at a 6th grade level or less. Literally, most adults in the U.S. are functionally illiterate. They're intentionally keeping us stupid. And this is something that, let's, all right, I'm going to see if I can find it while I'm talking. Let's see. There is a, it seems like a funny thing or something to make fun of. It's like, oh, you can't even read and then da-da-da-da. But the reality of what it looks like when an adult can't actually read. What is happening? There we go. Yes, click. There we go. All right, give me a second here. There's a dude who is doing his whole learning to read journey on TikTok. And he's just this homeless dude. I think he was homeless. He might not be homeless anymore. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Let's go.
I'm sorry. I'm learning how to read, y'all. It's either this or I turn off the camera and just be angry and don't learn. Because regardless, this is why people give up. When you see an adult and they be like, why you never learn? Because this is what they would have to go through. I don't know if they'll go through it like me, but I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know how to read and you're an adult and you're going to start learning how to read, you will not get through this without any vulnerability, bro. Like you don't. Ah!
I cannot imagine not being able to articulate because you don't know the words. You don't know, like, you know enough to talk, but listen to the frustration in this man's voice.
I'm supposed to know this. I'm supposed to know this shit already. Ah! Stay up, baby. Don't give up. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. You learning, yo. You learning how to read. You learning. That's what it is. Let's go. Let's go. And so Wilbur came home to visit beloved Manor Pile in the barn cellar. His was a strange homecoming. Around his neck, he wore a medal of honor. In his mouth, he held a sack of spider eggs. They're supposed to know this stuff, yo. I'm supposed to already know how to read. I'm supposed to get this. Let's go. I need it, baby. I need it all. Let's go. Let's go. You breathing. Let's read. Let's go.
And maybe you're saying, you know, he's playing it up for the camera. Maybe he really does know how to read. Maybe all of that, whatever. I can attest to absolutely inspiring as hell. I can attest to a number. If he's acting, then he needs to get to Hollywood immediately, because the amount of pain that is shown from just this one man. And what does Bill say? We can't have more than half of U.S. adults reading at this level. They're functionally illiterate, and they're intentionally keeping us stupid. And so I play that because it can be so far away from our experience to understand not being able to read, and certainly not being able to read as an adult. And it's not funny. It's not funny at all. Facts. I mean, I don't think a lot of people who are at that, who struggle with that, I don't think they have the drive. And I'm not blaming them. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we all have our personal responsibility to get our shit done. But clearly, I was put in a luckier position than he was. And if I made it to this age and didn't know how to read, I can't tell you that I would learn. I can't tell you that. I wish that I knew. I feel like I would, but I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, exactly. If only the majority of people had that drive. Yeah. So he is Oliver Speaks. Oliver Speaks on or Oliver Speaks 1 on TikTok if you want to give him a follow. Because you know, there's different, you know, there's different stuff. This was a sadder one. Obviously the sadder ones get more views, so that was the first one. But you know, it's a legit journey, and it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see that somebody's willing to not only do that, not only go through that, but to share that and to say to other people, hey, we're out here. And if you're one of us, an adult who can't read, you're not stupid, you're not bad. And more than that, you can change. This dog. James, hey, make sure you like this video and leave a comment saying we're all behind this dude for us, because that is some ish. That man needs to know there's a bunch of us who support him. Said shit. Me too. No, seriously though, absolutely. I completely agree. Unwanted Foe said it's great that he's improving himself, but man, it's easy to understand how frustrating it would be to try living in a country where you can't read the language, then add on the fact that you grew up there. Yeah. And you know, at least mentally, because what did he say 4 or 5 times? I should know this. I'm supposed to know this. You get dropped in a foreign country where they don't speak English and you speak English and you can read fine. Well, then you know, that's a completely different thing. There is nowhere in the world. There is nowhere in the world that man can go and understand anything that's on paper. I mean, obviously, you know, he's learning, but, and I mean, as somebody who was just lucky to be not only born into a family that didn't have to worry about things like that. I was born as a relatively, you know, intelligent person where I didn't have to try hard in school. I don't have I cannot ever understand. I can sympathize, but I can never empathize with that man. Nick says, as a dyslexic, I felt like that when I was young. Luckily, I have a great mom who found a place where they could teach me the way I learn more easily. It was a tough thing, but I'm grateful I learned. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Zig says, no excuse for not being able to read at his age. In the most advanced time in the most advanced nation. So this is just, I'm going to chalk this up to your lack of experience with the nuance of America. This is exactly what we're talking about. Because it does seem crazy, right? It seems unfathomable that in the United States of America, there would be places that the kids aren't learning to read. But yeah, dude. And it's not a small number. It's a crazy, crazy high number. I'm pretty sure not one child from the LeBron James school passed 8th grade reading or math. Bill says the problem is not the adult that can't read. It is the school system that churns out illiterate people. Absolutely. Absolutely. School systems and the parents. Yep. Yeah. Broken homes raise broken kids. Yeah, that's exactly. So this is 1-to-1 exactly what I was talking to MJ about. It's not the government's responsibility to make sure that he reads. It's the government's responsibility to make sure that he goes to the school and goes through the lessons. But at the same time, it's clearly the school's fault, the systems and their parents that failed this man as a young boy who had no understanding of what it would be like to be an adult who couldn't read, with everybody around him who would know, and they just didn't care. And again, maybe they didn't care because a bunch of other people in their environment didn't know how to read. And maybe it just wasn't something that was super relevant. As long as you knew how to read stop signs, there's a lot of places where you could live without having to read anything beyond a 5-letter word. There isn't a single entity. And that's the sad part, man. It's like, yeah, we are this is the most advanced, what did you say? The most advanced time and the most advanced nation. And yet we see that. So, I mean, and like Bill said, it's not his fault. Bill says, most adults in the U.S. read at a 6th grade level or less. It is illegal for kids to drop out of school that young. So how can a kid get out of school without being able to read at least the level grade they have to be to legally allowed to quit going school? That means that somebody, some guardian or parent allowed that child to fail and stop learning. Bill says this system wants us illiterate. It makes people easier to control. This is all anything ever comes down to is control. Money and control. But really, money is about power. It's all about control. Very, very sad. All right, where are we?
Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question. I can give you things that were impacting American.
Oh yeah, white supremacy. Yeah, that's a big problem. Not that adults can't fucking read, but white supremacy.
Come on, man.
I mean that seriously. Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question.
The breakdown of the family. The breakdown of the family in the worst school, in the worst neighborhood. Even if he had learning disabilities, then you would be able to learn how to read. What does Nick say? Luckily, I have a great mom. Now, Nick's a smart guy. I'm sure, he would have been able to figure things out on his own. But if you don't know, then how do you know? Sometimes, like a lot of times with psychological issues, whether it's a learning disability or anxiety or depression or like a borderline, a lot of times before there's a diagnosis, before there is a frame of reference, like I have anxiety. I have generalized anxiety. I'm just white knuckling through the entire day. It's like my natural resting state of being is that of somebody who just railed a huge line of code. So I just thought that's what life was like until I found some of these drugs that would actually bring you down, and spent years abusing them, but then eventually came back to use them responsibly, the way they were intended to be used. And now I can take a deep breath during the day. Now I can just go to sleep when it's time to go to bed. It's the same thing, again, to bring up the dog training. Whenever I talk about leash work with dogs, the first thing I always talk about is how dogs have a different anatomy around their necks than we do. They have muscles around here. So when you connect the leash and they're just pulling, if you don't teach them that walking is supposed to be like this, then they're just gonna be like, all right, well, there's lots of nice smells and stuff out here. I really wish that wasn't going on, but I guess this is what walking is. And so I'll say, you're very familiar with a dog walking nicely on a leash. You see it in your neighborhood, you see it in movies, and you see it on TV, but your dog's never seen that TV show. So you have to start inside and work slowly and show them what it is that you want them to do before you can expect them to do it. That is the same thing with people. It's not different in any way. Where were we? Daniel says it goes deeper than that. I mean, I'm technically partially a victim of George W. Bush "no child left behind" bullshit. There I was at one grade. I should have been held back. Nope. And it's for what? To make it seem like the numbers are better. Do they care about you, the student? Of course not. They just cared about how they could make themselves look like they were doing better instead of actually doing better. Goes on to say, since I would have appeared to be stupid, they passed me anyway. Well, I mean, at least you figured it out, man. At least you figured it out. Unwanted Foe said, money equals power. Control equals power. Money plus control equals power squared. Nick says, I hate reading too, but speak and read 3 languages. Well, hot damn. I was going to say, shit, me too, but I hate reading and I only know 1 language. I mean, arguably, I could survive in a Spanish-speaking country. Not arguably. I would be able to survive in a Spanish-speaking country, but I don't know Spanish. But shout out to you. That's always that's such an American thing for us to be like, yeah, I speak English. It's the same thing with like East Coasters and knowing the time zone. It's like, I'm on New York time. All right. You figure out what the time difference is. Bill says, so Nick, they make sure the kids learn all about gender theory. They also make sure those kids can't read the actual literature to question the narrative. Exactly. Sad. All right. Are we still on?
Gosh, what would be first? That's a very good question. I can give you a few things that are ranked very importantly, but I don't want to say what I would say is first. But the family unit being destroyed is if it's not 1, it's 2. What's happening with families and the government's creeping into our homes in regards to making people believe that marriage is not aspirational, that only happens in a society that's heading towards Marxist ideologies.
Then she's going to bring up God. And turn all of the secular people off of this amazing message that the family unit is the most important thing and is probably the #1 problem in our country. But go ahead and ruin it.
And that is literally the Karl Marx doctrine, right? That if a government wants full omnipotence, it has to break down the family unit because the family unit stands in opposition to government omnipotence. So I would probably say every ill that we're seeing in society right now, which you might think are unrelated, are actually all related to destroying the family unit. So sometimes you
or God
say, why are they on this climate change thing? And then you go, why are they fighting trans bathroom signs? And what's with this LGBTQ stuff? If you examine all of these issues and you realize what they have in common, it's that they are attacking families. So climate change, they're telling children don't have kids.
I'm just waiting
for it.
I'm just waiting
it's
for it.
Irresponsible. The planet's not going to be here for 10 years. Meghan and Harry got an award because they agreed to only have 2 kids. Yeah. It's about the shrinking of the family unit, which is it's totally bizarre. The LGBTQ stuff. If kids are chopping off their parts, they're not going to have a productive family. There's no nuclear family unit if it's 2 lesbians or two gay people.
Yep, Bill. Great point here. I think no-fault divorce was a big mistake. Divorce for cause was a long thing, but there had to be cause to dissolve the legally binding contract. Allowing for no-fault dissolution seems problematic. Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is, sir. I would put that under the same, put that in the same category as, the strength of the nuclear family, because that is, a part of why the family unit isn't as strong anymore, is because marriage has just become the next level of dating. There's even people now doing like, they call it like a covenant marriage or something. It's like a super marriage where it can't be broken. And it's like, that's what it was always supposed to be. Thanks, Reagan.
More power to the government. You've got to turn to the government to even have a child, which is now coming down the pipeline with all of those things. And so, when I examine every issue that we're fighting, you can see that what the government is actually doing is trying to interrupt the family unit. So I would say that that's the #1 issue.
And your friend Larry Elder said the exact same thing. He put that at #1.
He put number 1.
Right? All right. And neither of them said, God, guys, we are making headway. That not every issue has to come back to religion. It is the values. The values. I want to post a divorce for cause again. Make infidelity illegal in marriage, civil, not criminal. And mandatory DNA test for fathers before filing the birth certificate. I am down with all three. Let's go. Fix America.
It is
And
proud.
then he, I mean, obviously a guy like that said
Fatherless
very nice
households.
things.
I want to see what else she's going to say.
Fatherless
Let me see what else she's going to say. What else would you say?
Well, so I was saying, like, I would
Come on, please, 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 just don't say God. Just. All right. I would be elated. I would be elated if she listed. Yeah, so we got family. Even outside of that, we need community, gratitude, a merit-based society, and capitalism. If she said those things and just didn't mention God, even though she meant following Christianity, I'd be totally fine. Let's see.
put family issues first because every other societal ill follows it, so when I'm talking about the education system, right, and what's going on, and kids are getting systematically dumber across Baltimore. They can't find a single child that's proficient in reading and writing, but talk to the kid about BLM and they're going to be like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. They're training little Marxists. The kids actually know nothing. They're essentially toddlers. Like when you see a toddler throwing a temper tantrum, they don't understand why. And so they just blame rich people, right? It must be because of rich people that I failed in life. No, it's because you literally couldn't pass a basic reading exam, and your life was cut off for you before you even graduated.
So Dan says, it's hard for me to admit, but I've got to say, as much as I dislike religion for its dogmatic thinking and tribalistic mindset, it does also encourage community atmosphere. I've never once said anything, and I'm not saying you're arguing, but I've never once said anything to the contrary. In fact, my message is exactly this. Exactly this, is that there's so much good stuff within that, what we call religion. There's so much. But there's just a few things about the dogmatic thinking and the tribalistic mindset that ruins that ruins it. So I'm smart enough to not have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. But I don't know. I mean, is everyone else stupid? Is everybody else not caring? Is everybody else indoctrinated? I don't know what the answer is. But of course, it encourages community. That's a core tenet of religion, is that we need to build the community and be part of something larger than ourselves, larger than on different levels. But you don't need to believe in something you cannot prove in order to live that way. That is exactly why I love Christian values, because they are good values to hold. That has nothing at all to do with the existence of a God or the divinity of a man who may or may not have existed. It's irrelevant. And so when we focus on it as if religion is the only way to encourage community atmosphere, then we are pushing an entire swath of the country away. It's like, well, and it's like, I mean, I would love to be able to just push aside this thing that I don't believe in the core tenet of your religion so that I can reap the benefits. I would love to do that. But that's not how it works. Luckily, you don't need it to work that way. Excuse me. Dan goes on to say something I think America has lost. We don't do major block parties and cookouts anymore. Few people know their neighbors. I don't know my neighbors. I know my neighbors. Well, I know one of mine. One household. I know one neighbor. But exactly. This is what we've lost. We don't need religion for these things, but we need these things. So we need to separate the values from the dogma and just go with the values. If you want the dogma, that's there for you to decide. That's up to you. It's America. You're free to do whatever the hell you want. But the values need to be non-negotiable. Shout out to Jay. Welcome back. Bill Bradley says, secular societies have not found a way to build real sense of community in the absence of religion. I'm an atheist, but I think most people need more God in their lives to act right. Well, that's what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change the fact that, okay, let's say, because it's a crutch. It's a crutch. People need this because they have learned to lean on it. It's literally a drug. It's like, well, you know, some heroin addicts it would be better for them not to go cold turkey because they might die from withdrawal. Well, yeah, but that doesn't make heroin a good thing. That means that we need to find a way to give them the tools to live a fulfilled life without the heroin, without the drug. So you are correct. But, well, we haven't found a way, so I guess it can't be done. God wins. God's the answer. No, it's God. Like, how? Okay, based on, okay, I'm willing to take that, but based on what? Based on what? I said so. Well, the Bible said so. Mythos enforces the values. Not sure you can get one without the other en masse. I think hedonism is what happens. Okay, how do you know that? How do you know that if we live with the actual, the social constructs are that of a Christian society without the dogma, where has that ever existed? Where has that ever existed? MJ said the issue is that the values are totally tied in that there is a God that set those values. Exactly. That is the problem. Because even if you believe that, that's okay if you believe that. But I don't believe that. So if I don't believe in God, then how is it that I can be living these values? Unless you're going to make the argument that there is no such thing as a non-resistant non-believer, that I do actually believe in God and I don't know it or something like that. I mean, you could take that argument. It's a stupid argument, but how can you know? Shout out to Jess. Talk about it. Welcome to the party. Been a while. Good to see you. So I don't like Candace Owens, but I'm dropping by to show support. Very, very, very much appreciated. And she's getting a little bit of a tongue lashing from us over here. So you might enjoy it more than you think. Bill Bradley said hedonism is also a drug. It seems like human brains are seeking out drugs. Okay, great. So let's have a drug that is better than Christianity and has more than heroin. Let's find a better drug, because a lot of people aren't taking the drug of Christianity anymore. A lot of people aren't taking the drug of religion at all anymore. So regardless of where people stand, it is what it is. You will never get the people who don't believe in God to believe in God again. You might, a little bit here or there, maybe. But especially the people who grew up religious, and especially the people who were harmed by religion. You're just not going to get them back. So you can either let them go to hedonism while they're living in your country, voting on your laws, or we can come together as secular and religious people alike and find a way to make sure that our secular values line up with your outward Christian values. Or not. It's up to you. I know where I stand. I'm looking to make America better. Understanding that a lot of America never, ever, 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 ever will be able to believe in a God again. If you want to cross your fingers and hope and wish that maybe one day we'll get religion back. Maybe. I think if I just pray hard enough. Go for it. Go for it. How's that worked out so far? And again, that's not to anybody in general. That's just in general. MJ says, dogma in the broad sense is any belief held unquestioningly and with undefended certainty. Your uncertainty that there is a God makes you as dogmatic as those that do believe a God exists. Wrong, because if anybody could prove that a God exists, I would not question that proof, or I would question the proof. But if it sufficed, then I would say, okay, clearly a God exists. So that's the opposite of dogma. That's just a position. That's just a thing I think. So the moment that God has been proven to me, then my atheism disappears. That's how atheism works. That's how truth works. It says, because hedonism came before Christianity and is here after. I'm an atheist, but I still see history. Okay, who before Christianity was there to create the alternative Christian-like secular lifestyle that didn't work? Who were the leaders of that movement? Exactly. Jess says, I don't mind God, but I'm against people forcing their beliefs on other people. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Actually, I mean, I do mind God, but I'm right there with you in the sense that as long as you're keeping it to yourself, then, to each their own. Bill says, you can act right without religion, but most people don't. They chase the dopamine hit of religion or hedonism in general. Right. That is the problem that we are addressing. That is the problem that we are addressing. Yep. That's the way to go. Those definitely will help. I honestly think that if everybody did LSD one time, that the number of Christians would go down to like, wait a minute. All of these feelings, I thought this was God. Like you could just eat a piece of paper and feel this. Like I cannot take anybody. If you've never done psychedelics and you're dead set on the existence of God, like, come on, like get out of here. Bill says, how do you create culture with enforcement mechanism for cultural norms? Shame. You either use moral contempt or the legal system. Yeah. How do you enforce moral contempt without some organization? Nobody said you do it without organization. It doesn't have to be dogmatic religious organization. MJ says, but you don't have proof that God doesn't exist. We don't need it. I don't need it. It doesn't matter if God exists or doesn't exist. The value, do we agree that treating people with respect and not hurting other people is the right thing to do for a flourishing society? Then what does God's existence have to do with it? No, I'm not. I'm telling you right now, unless you're saying you don't believe me, I am telling you to your virtual face, MJ, I am not dogmatic that God cannot be proved. God very well could be proved if God exists. Nobody has done that yet, but if they do, I will accept their proof. So either you think I'm lying or you understand now that this is an incorrect statement. Me. What do you mean? Me. This is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. Maybe some of you thought this was just like a fun little chat that we do. And that's cool if you're having fun. But no. This is real fucking life. This is the fixing of our nation. Until somebody shows me that my path, what I'm telling you right now is cannot be done, then I'm going to push for it. Who is here to create that now? Me. I could be stopped. Maybe I'm terribly wrong about all of this. And maybe somebody will be able to tell me exactly where I'm wrong. But I've been talking about this since college, and nobody, professors, theologians, none of these have been able to say that what I am saying and doing is wrong. Until they do, then I'm just going to keep going, doing what I do, doing what I think is right, espousing values that can help everybody, regardless of their religious beliefs. That's who. Yeah, Zig says, just be good and do good. Do no harm. It's that simple. It's that simple. Context, insane Christians give God a bad name. That's about all I can add at this point. I think we can all agree on that. MJ said, I'm just saying that you are... MJ, what did I just say to you? I just said that. Okay. I mean, if you think I'm lying, then you can think I'm lying. But I mean, I don't know how else to explain to you that I'm not dogmatic about the non-existence of God. I am telling you, I believe that a God may exist. I just don't have the evidence to confirm that. You don't can you state my argument? Can you state my position? Because you keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over again when I'm telling you, no, that's not what I think. So either you don't believe me or you don't understand. But says the issue is that without some greater power to appeal to, it is just one person's version or morality put up against another's with no objective judge for which person is right. Tell that to MLK. Tell that to Malcolm X. Tell that to Jesus fucking Christ. Tell that to anybody else who's ever been worth anything in this world. And I get it. I get it. Of course you think I'm crazy for thinking that I could do this. But, I mean, I don't know. Just sit there and watch it happen. Exactly. Well, we need to prove it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not even dogmatic about it. Like, if you could prove that God exists, all right, then you win. God exists. I was wrong. That's the opposite of dogma. That is literally the opposite. Bill says, right now, it's just you saying your version of morality is superior. But no, it's not just me. It's me and all of the Christians and all the people who agree with Judeo-Christian values. It's not just me. I'm not coming up with a new thing. I'm saying, look, Christianity and Judaism and some parts of Islam and Buddha, these all have great ideas. Let's just take away the part where you have to believe in a thing. Let's just say, if you think this is a good idea, then live by that idea. There you go. You can't be dogmatic about a thing that you don't like. Yeah, no. Bill says, I don't care about God per se. I'm just pointing to the organizational structure that seems necessary to enforce moral standards on broad groups of people. I understand that. And I'm just saying, what is the proof that that is necessary? I understand that has been what what we've done up until now. But you're making the claim that it cannot be done. And so if that's the case, well, please enlighten me, because I don't want to spend all this time trying to do something that cannot be done. But until somebody tells me that it cannot be done with the proper amount of evidence that indeed it cannot be done, well, I'm not going to stop trying to make it done. Those people said God says their version of morality was objectively correct. All of them literally appealed to God. Okay, I think I already, that was the exact same thing as what you last said. Hey man, it's not just me, it's all of you guys here. This is what we are doing. We are fighting the good fight. Whether you believe in Christianity or Islam or anything else, we are here to come up with this exact thing that you're saying doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, then let's build it. Everything else in the universe, well, everything else in the world that exists, that's not directly natural, that doesn't grow out of the ground, somebody did it first. So you can either decide, well, nobody's done it yet, so it can't be done, or shit, this Lutch dude really kind of has some good ideas, and he's really up against it, but I'm getting behind that message. Choice is yours. I know what I'm doing. I know what side I'm on. So, big shout out to anybody who is, is down to fight the good fight with me. Because by myself, I'm not gonna get very far. So it's you guys showing up, doing this, continuing to have these conversations that is going to create this structure that you say cannot exist. And if somebody is like, well, it can't exist because of that, well, then I'm not just going to stop. I'm going to tweak that so that it works, because I believe all of the same things about behavior that Christians do, aside from the dogmatic parts. So it's just not necessary. It's just not. I don't have any, I can't break it down any more than that, guys. I do not blame you for not believing that I am that guy, but trust me, I'm that guy. Don't be in 20 years, you don't want to look back and be like, damn, that dude didn't even have 2,000 subscribers. And he was talking to me personally. And then I kind of fell off. And now he's the most well-known person in the world because he has fixed America. Up to you guys. But I do want to thank you so much for hanging out and pushing this stuff, because it really does make me have to be on point. Without you guys, I would be just sitting here doing nothing. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, guys. We got a little bit deeper than I anticipated, a little bit less about Candace and a little bit more about America in general. But either way, that is fantastic. Big shout out to Dr. Evil Genius for dropping by. And of course, the sponsor of the stream, Unwanted Foe. Thank you so much, guys. Even if you cannot contribute monetarily, the fact that you are here, the fact that you are being part of the conversation, the fact that you are helping me do this thing means that you are part of it. I forgot to end this poll here. So 71% of you said democracy is an illusion. Well, if that is the case, then I am needed more than ever. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this out to wherever you can. Because the more people we have on our side, the easier it's going to be. But thank you again, guys, for hanging out with me. I really do enjoy it, and I appreciate you guys to no end. So I hope I hope we, I know we're coming from different places, but I hope we all understand that we have a respect for each other and a respect for this country, and a desire for things to be better, and a desire for all of us to be able to live the way that we want to live. So thank you once again. Head over to Discord. I have a feeling it's gonna get spicy. Thank you again. Once again, I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, I am out of here. Peace.